they subscribing to the Bible without looking all the way into the history of it. Because nothing wrong with taking the Bible, to me, and, you know, making yourself a better person off of it, because it got good teachings. But the problem be not knowing and believing, because when you believe, you allow the witches to place a placebo effect on you, and now you ain't getting attacked by them, you manifesting your own hell. You see what I'm saying?
That's the trick of the, because most of the trick that the witches do, it ain't that they got magic, it's that they understand how powerful your mind is and your imagination, and they can suggest things and implant stuff there, and you will bring it to life. You'll do the rest.
Right.
So
And they pull
a
at your heart
person,
chakras.
that's
Exactly,
like,
because you are the powerful one. I ain't mean to come by out, but you the powerful one. They're just
that's
finessing
like,
you to do their will.
that's like when a person is involved in these spiritual systems, the more they overcome temptation and wrestle with things they trying to overcome, every time they overcome it, to them, that's more proof that their God is real. See, I've been there in the Christian church to where I wanted to quit smoking cigarettes, and because I broke that addiction, I owe that to Jesus and the Holy Ghost versus me just being strong. So my thing is, people, it's such a mind that people won't go away from it, because they'll say, look, man, I was on crack and I know Jesus real because I don't smoke crack no more.
Right.
But you made the decision that you don't want to smoke crack.
Right,
No more.
maybe you put the crack rock down.
Yeah, maybe you were
Put the
strong
pipe
enough.
down, you know?
Yeah. Like, cause it's
then,
another,
look,
like, they gotta think like it's another dude that's saying Allah made him stop smoking crack.
Hey, Sanchez, you know what I do? I try to tell people this. I'm like, look, man, look, check this out. I said, I try to make it simple as possible. I said, we live in a duality. Everything is in twos. I said, you got 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 lips, 2 ears. You got right, left, in and out, up and down. You got God and devil. Make your choice of who you are.
Mm.
That's how I try to tell people.
Yeah.
And they still can't see it.
Yeah. It's crazy, but you know, so yeah, that's, to me, that's what witchcraft is. It's making a person attribute everything in their life to an outside entity that don't even exist. Now that is a spell of the witch. That's one, bro. That spell right there trumps all the other abracadabra shit we see in the scary movies. When you can make a person go through some bad and blame it on a red dragon that they don't see, and when they go through some good, they look up in the sky at a white dude that ain't no white dude never done nothing good for them. But for some reason, they think this one, when they attribute the good and bad in their life to spook forces that they can't prove. Boy, that's a spell for your ass.
That's deep.
That's what I'm saying about them putting that Bible together with such mind control through fear. You know, instead of living this life, you worried about burning in the next one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When nobody got the keys to heaven. You know what I'm saying? They tell you they got the keys, and then
but
you
you
gotta
waste
follow
this whole life. You waste, they make you waste this whole life.
Yeah, they
You're
do.
like, fuck this life, and like waiting to die. That's crazy.
Right.
because
Man,
they
we
got
was
you
told,
slaving, they got you working the whole time.
you know,
You still a slave. You just don't know it. You're a slave to your debt.
and he go how they
And you
flip.
work your whole life.
Here go how they flip the game. Our ancestors used to teach, if you strive to be a good person, then you can manifest your greatest reality throughout a series of reincarnations. Basically, you can climb the stairway to heaven if you be good. That's what we used to teach on the earth. Now what we teach on the earth, if you don't do what God say, you gonna get your ass burnt forever. So instead of saying, if you do good, good gonna follow you, they teach if you don't obey the authority, you gonna get you a beating.
Right. And they don't want you questioning no type of nothing when it comes to religious, because they always like they push you away when you asking simple questions so you can understand, so you can truly have faith in what you're trying to have faith in. But if you can't teach me what I'm asking you, like if I ask somebody where the Bible came from, and you tell me King James, I'm like, well, where did King James get it from? And you shut down. I'm not finna, as an intelligent person, with all due respect, I'm not finna subscribe to your religion because you're hiding something.
Man, the more you refuse to be dumb, the crazier you are. That's how they look at you.
And at this point,
What y'all have to,
in reality, when we got grown people who don't know what a male and a female is, I'll be crazy.
And let me say
that's
this real
funny.
quick.
That part.
I want to give a shout out to Spread Wealth. Thank you for being a channel member and for the super chat. Said the Khazars were the face stealers. They used to kill traders that came through their lands and assume their identities to start wars. Origin, Ukraine. When I hear the word Khazars
Ain't
and
that what I
Khazar,
said?
I don't think they could have been just riding with you, but when I hear the word Khazarian and Khazars, like the word just sounds like Caesar and Caesarian, Khazar, like they're people that may be descended from the Caesars, but this is me reaching here just with etymology, though. I'll admit that. Because, you know, a cesarean is when you cut a baby out of a woman's belly. But if y'all want to talk about incubator babies, an incubator baby would be cut from a synthetic belly versus pulled from a womb. And so we would identify the incubator babies as cesarean babies or Khazarian babies, Khazarian. I'm just showing how words could have morphed too, but I'm just theorizing.
The
Nah, in my
Khazarians
theory,
were real
Jesus
people.
was a sin because
That's
he
a
ain't got
real
no
people.
daddy.
The Khazarians were real people, and they were raiders and gypsies and all
That's
over the
why I'm
place.
saying what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because when we say that these Khazarians were real people, that's the part I'm debating you about. What's real? Because a what if? Because I believe that just like a man, just like the day we can take a man's sperm and a woman's egg and we can incubate them in a laboratory versus in a woman's belly, we got that technology today to where all we need is the egg and the sperm and we can make a false stomach, or what they call the belly of the beast. Why didn't they say, think about this now, just hear what I'm saying. If ancient people tried to make incubator babies like what we doing today, maybe they achieved it, but in primitive forms. For example, who's to say you can't take the belly of a goat or the belly of some animal like we do today? We make goat's pie. We take the blood of a sheep or goat, you squeeze it out, you bake stuff in it, you can use it to incubate things. Think about this. If a animal's belly can incubate its seed, is there some kind of way possible? Can't say none is impossible to where you can literally make a incubator baby in a scent. All you need is a stomach, something warm, something that are incubated, and a process that would allow this thing to simulate a woman's womb or a fetal bag. And you think about it. How hard is a fetal bag to simulate? It's like a warm bag full of different liquids that's allowing the sperm and egg to turn into a human. If you can take all of the elements in a woman's fetal bag and make a synthetic version of them and mimic the temperature of her body, you got a beast belly or a synthetic belly, or what we can call it. That's the belly of the beast. And if some humans were born from the belly of the beast, we would say, you know what? It's two kind of people on the earth. Either you're hell-born or you're heaven sent. Now, the hell-born people literally are cesarean babies. They was never pulled from a vagina. They was cut out of a belly. Now, that's different. The people who may be incubator babies who was cut from synthetic bellies, they're now cutting everybody out of the bellies because that's how they come. They ain't allowing us to form the right way with phrenology. Humans supposed to be pulled out of the womb so they can squeeze the excess water out of the head. That's why they call you a water head, baby, because you didn't get pulled from the womb and you got excess water in the head. It makes you dumb. I think most of the world today is waterhead babies. If your mama got a cut on her, now this may sound crazy to y'all. Now, listen, they
But can
genetically
they put a soul
modifying
in
us.
there?
Listen, they genetically doing shit with us because it was done to them. They flipping the tables. I think we were Yakub. They blaming it on one dude. I think our ancestors got so damn wise that they created humanoids. And when the Bible say the sins of the fathers gonna visit the children, the word sin could be sense, synths, which is a synonym for a humanoid, a synthetic person. And they saying that the sense of our ancestors will now rule over us and be something we gotta overcome because our ancestors created the great abomination, which is the fake human, the antichrist. We now all born into bondage under AI. That's how I translate this shit.
Mm.
That's
See,
how I see it.
it be making me feel like Jesus is like telling the story of like the first synth or something, because he's not born like with a male and a female input. It's just like an incubator. It's the womb. It's a story
Right.
of womb. He's born, and then
Come
like
on.
you said, bro, Sanchez, and your other things. Guess who the first people to see him? It's three wise men. The other three
Because
AI dudes. So it's just a
because
bunch of Sith dudes, reincarnating themselves in an
you know,
artificial way because we do it officially. So we gotta forget, but they stuck here, so they just keep. They got a little plan, and like you said, I feel like they done went around the world collecting all our technologies, but at the same time destroying our real records of what happened. And they left, like you said, they'll leave the little hieroglyphs because then for children, that's just that's just stuff you see on the wall, man. That's the same equivalent as the little poster in the dentist office. That ain't real knowledge. It's just basic common knowledge for that time. You know what I'm saying? So they took all the real stuff and they
now,
slowly, like you said, reverse engineering it to us. And I'll
Because
be seeing that pattern. I'm like, okay, that is the pattern. He did find that pattern where they are reverse engineering something constantly, and they never wanted to be ancient technology. They always wanted to be something else. You know what I'm saying?
now watch this. I'm gonna just show you this real quick, right? Now look, back during Jesus' time, when a woman gave birth, it was midwives, and it was basically a village thing. It wasn't no hospitals. It wasn't no wise men or doctors and all that showing up. You just did you and your family. Y'all, it was that kind of thing. Here's what y'all gotta realize. The fact that three wise men showed up at Jesus' birth, the term wise man was also symbolic of healer and all that. But this would have been like your modern doctor. They would have been working for the Caesars. And the Caesars would have been doing the cheapest things possible for the most expensive prices, just like what they doing today, where they mutilate people that don't even work. Like you'll pay for dialysis, they ain't even healing you, but it's bankrupting you. People spending all their money, they still dying. You know what I'm saying? But this was kind of what was going on. Well, it was what was going on in Egypt and Rome. The medical system under the Caesars and stuff was draconian. It was barbaric. It was expensive and it didn't really heal you. Just like today. But the thing is this right here. Why did these three wise men or medical professionals visit Jesus when childbirth wasn't even nothing that the entities of that time, like the way the medical system was, it was dominated by these wise men, and it was basically only there for the rich, which is why Jesus was so important, because Jesus was a healer for the poor man. Because during that time, if you had a sickness, the Pharisees decided that they had their wise men and practitioners of that Roman medicine systems and shit to doing their thing. But the thing is this. I believe that they would cut babies out of the belly because for certain reasons on beauty and just because it'll probably be less painful and all that to push and have a, it's more painful to have a natural pregnancy. But what I was saying was, if you would have had a cesarean back in the day, which is to have your baby cut out, it would have costed you. So the only babies that was being cut from the belly, that was like a rich thing to have you. Because if you think about it, like the Greeks during that time with the Caesars and the Romans, their beauty industry, that even the Egyptians, what they had evolved to, they felt like natural childbirth was a burden. you had this sophisticated awakening on the world, like how all the women going under the knife getting cut up and they nose look different, they plastic butts and stuff. Back in the day, you had this surgical people getting cut going under the knife. No one wanted to have natural births. The women wanted to preserve their body, their shape, and they didn't want to go through all the pain of pushing that baby out. And cesarean was named after the Caesar. Just think of that. It's named after the Caesar. This wasn't no normal procedure that a poor person could get. So a lot of the children that was born from cesarean births were looked at as like rich kids, like how we look at rich kids today. Like, damn, like we looked at the cesarean, like those kids, like they were at the top of the class hierarchy and shit. Like, and if you just think, I'm theorizing, at a time on Earth where if you were a baby that was cut from your mama's belly, you would have bragged on that. Like, look, I came from I was born from a cesarean. That would probably be a whole title for those kind of babies if this was a new thing. Hey, this is a cesarean baby. And you know, and maybe that is how we identify this other group that we call an incubator babies and all that. Because when we say the cesarean procedure, we act like it's like today for everybody. But the world has changed. It's something that became cheaper over time and extended to everybody else. Just like a lot of the beauty products that the rich people used to use, the poor people could never use it. But now there's a beauty industry that's affordable to everybody. Everybody getting, even chicks, broke chicks getting BBLs and all that, and surgery that was only for the rich. So, but I was just giving y'all a brief history of cesareans because we ended up segueing into incubator babies, and I wanted to let y'all know these incubator babies would have been at the top of society. They would have been among, just for the fact that they was unnaturally born. They would have been like what they say about the Nephilim, even though we the real Nephilim, but they would have been popular, and you know, people look at them different and shit. Like Christ is one of them. Think about it. Like if they say, well, they took the sperm of a man or whatever, or they scientifically created Jesus. They say it's a virgin miraculous birth, but that wouldn't be no different than what they calling a virgin birth. If you look it up, it is a birth without man and woman having intercourse. So technically, if I take the egg from a woman today and the sperm from a man and make it in an incubator, that's an immaculate conception. That would have been called a virgin or immaculate. If they saying this woman gave birth but she was never touched by a man, that's possible that can be a woman on this earth that never had sex before, but she got children because she did the process that I just told y'all. That can be Mary, the Virgin Mary.
Right, like a ancient version of IVF with the damn, how they put the seed in the lady nowadays.
Yeah, they took away ancient technology, so now they got us thinking about it wrong, like it's just a virgin birth by some spirit and all that stuff.
They put that in the movie. That's where Darth Vader came from. Y'all know that?
That is right.
They put that in the movie, Darth Vader. There was no father. She just all of a sudden pregnant and had Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker.
Hey, bro, and that's all I wanted to ask you, right? What do you think about old world animals and new world animals? Do you think they came in that same process of like the incubator babies or new world humans?
So I do think that the same thing they did, the humans, they did the sea, the land, the birds. I think that it ain't too much on this earth that haven't been genetically modified, including us. And the reason I say that is before they would have started genetically modifying humans, They would have first started with plants, fruits, animals, insects. The last thing that would have got genetically modified would have been the
Was a
human.
human.
So the
Right.
fact that you see humans start to now get genetically modified, that lets you know we've terraformed the whole earth by now. And so we might as well hop on board with the genetically modified. This means that the only natural thing that was left was the human. And the human said, you know what? Look at our genetically modified world. We might as well use this on us now. We must
Hey,
now
Sanchez.
genetically modify ourselves to fit in with this new genetically modified world we done made. Yeah.
Hey, Sanchez, you should have dropped a bomb when you just said that, about the incubator, no, about the virgin birth. You should have dropped
Yeah.
a bomb on yourself. I forgot to tell
It
you to do
ain't
that.
too
Yeah,
You
you
late.
did
We
download
dropping it
something
you
now.
been
major.
cracking all the damn code.
Bro,
Yeah,
You
Sanchez,
been
you didn't
cracking
drop
all
a
the
bomb. No, that was a major download because you got my brain still cooking right now just
But
off of
y'all
this.
gotta realize, I can't. Y'all be saying it's a download. Guess what it be? It be this thing to where y'all will come on the call and throw me shit and have me thinking of something I ain't think of. So the download literally coming from y'all. I'm feeding off my community. I'm feeding off
But you,
y'all. So
but that right
communication,
there.
communication of
vice
meeting of the
versa.
minds. Meeting of the
Yeah,
minds.
yeah, right. You said I was saying
yeah.
like in the sense of it's almost like cymatics where our frequencies bouncing off each other, and
Mm-hmm.
because of that, you can access different parts of your like Akashic records type deal. Because like you
Oh, that's fire.
see what I'm
Yep.
saying, you becoming aware of certain things you didn't even remember you knew.
Hey,
Oh,
earlier I
one
said,
one thing I want to drop.
hold on, let me say
One thing,
this. Earlier I said that I was gonna go live after this. This too good. I ain't going live after this, but Sanchez don't mind this. But if I can get a couple of subscribers, and when I do go live, y'all just tune in and we'll just build on some stuff because I really need to start going live. I ain't got a lot on my page, but I love this, man. Y'all
No,
go
you right,
ahead.
and we got to do that in mass so we be harder to infiltrate. Because some people, not like bro or Dan, but some people will come in as uh implants. Some people will sell out. So in order to control our movement, I feel like it's best that we don't replicate Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and we have as many leaders as possible. Meaning that we literally make each other be leaders. Like we don't allow nobody to follow nobody type deal. Like you
Hey,
gotta
Brody, I
lead.
want to ask you, right, Brody? Right. All right, so we the old world people, right? Black people, right? How did we survive like the flood? Because like for some reason I feel like when the flood happened, whether it was like a mental flood or something like that, or maybe something want to delete our memory, something like that, whether it's physical or like mentally, like when the flood happened, that's what made, I guess, the quote unquote new world people get control.
let me
Because
let me let
We
me
like
let me
roaches. We don't die. We multiply.
let me give you a simple solution to that question. Okay, all the people in that story that you're talking about was black.
I didn't hear you, brother.
I said that all the people you're talking about in that story, the Noah story, the survivors of all of that, was black.
Right.
That's the
Hold on,
answer to
hold on.
you.
So is the so y'all connecting like the Noah story? Well, I'm talking about when like the Tartarian flood happened, like when the mud flood happened. So the mud flood, y'all saying
The,
it's the same thing as the Noah's flood?
no, the mud flood is a mystery that nobody wants to address. The mud flood
Which one?
flies
It's like two or three
let me answer them. The mud flood flies in the face of the narrative we've all been indoctrinated with. So no real people going to take on that challenge. We have to try to figure that out ourselves. Because Tartaria, all that stuff, the amount of underground tunnels from the Caucasus Mountains all the way through the world, there's tunnels that they ain't tell. There's tunnels here under our cities that we
right.
didn't build. I mean, they got railways and everything in them, and they just small tunnels all under the big city. There's buildings here that are
Every
from,
city is built on top of the old city, bro. I ain't mean to cut you off.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there
I
are
want
cities,
to
but
say something
that's what
too,
I was
y'all.
going to say. There's
What?
cities that are built on top of old cities that the narrative cannot explain, so they just stay away from it. They just
So
bury that, just like the Smithsonian. They just bury the old history. So we just
Nah.
sit here and we're like, it's going to be a mystery to us because they ain't going to tell us what they done found.
Yeah, watch this,
They know
right?
they have shit.
So burying the old history and cities that's up under the water and stuff like that. Let me share some with you. Screen share. See, the Great Flood is a synonym for the Big Bang. Watch this.
Mm,
Watch this. See, watch
mm.
this. Watch this, right, y'all. Go to this. Now, here is Plato's Atlantis. Here is the ripple effect with this step pyramid. Let me just break this down to you right quick. Let me take the overlay off real quick. Hold on. So the Great Flood, the word great is like big, like it's dealing with cosmic. Like when we say macro and micro or minor, major. So when you talking cosmic scale, you use the word great, big, or big bang versus a bang, or the Great Flood versus just a flood. But see, the thing about the Great Flood, when you're dealing with these kind of terms, you want to start thinking macro and cosmic when they put them adjectives in front of it. Stuff like great, like instead of calling it a bang, no, it's the Big Bang because it's talking about the universe. It's the Great Flood. It's talking about the universe coming into it being from the flooding of this same water right here. You can look at this in micro as you coming into being when your mama fetal bag fill up with water. Then the waters get broken up. Every time the water break, that represent a lifetime. So when it say God separated the waters from the waters, that's you being born 7 times in between waters breaking. Every time you come into this world, you break the water like Moses did. Moses keep breaking through the water. This is all about rebirth, y'all. It's all about sex, magic, and life and death, and the story of us climbing this stairway to heaven that I keep telling you about. Every time our soul die in one of these planes, it gets so light that it'll send up like a scuba diver at the bottom of the ocean that dropped his weight. Now listen to me, right? When the scuba diver go to the ocean floor to walk around, they put these big weights on so that they can walk around and explore the ocean floor like they on the surface. But when they ready to leave the ocean floor, guess what? They can't take them weights up to the surface with them. They can't ascend with the same weights that they drop down. Guess what? They gotta leave them weights. You gotta leave your body when your soul wanna go up through this cosmic water and ascend back. Now what's gonna happen, just like the scuba diver, you're gonna break through the water at the surface and take a breath like baptism. When they baptize you, like Neo coming out of his pod. And you gonna see the thing is when you die, your soul gonna get out this body and you're gonna be standing at the bottom of a big ass ocean. When you look up at the sky, when you get out your body, you're gonna see the surface of the water and break straight to it. And once you get up there and come up out of this bit, everybody gonna be clapping for you like, yeah, just like in church when you got baptized. In church when you got baptized and they brought you up out the water, they said it's a new you. When you ascend out of your body and you break through the top and go to this next level and break your head through the surface of the water, your mama, daddy, grandma, everybody that you thought was dead here or that you left behind, they already there waiting on you to be born out of your mama again. Your grandma, just like in a dream. You don't leave them. We all exist as multi-dimensional beings. You got a different version just like they do. So check this out, right? The baptism ritual you did in church is what you're going to do when you die. You're going to pass up this Hiram Abiff's journey. You're going to pass, and you're going to do this 7 times. You know why? Because a scuba diver just can't leave the bottom of the ocean and go right to the surface. He got to take breaks, because if he don't take a break, then the bubbles will get in his, you know the science, he'll die because it's a science behind it. The bubbles will get in his bloodstream and shit.
The beers when it come to change your densities.
Yeah, there you go. The soul is bound to that same law. So our soul just can't ascend from the bottom hell straight to heaven. It gotta take breaks, which is 7 lifetimes where you gotta die, take a break, be born again. The break is the body when you stop a minute, chill in the flesh, chill out a minute on that little world, live your little lifetime. Okay, they said now he ready to go to his next level like a scuba diver. And you ascend up in steps like a scuba diver. You don't just go straight from the bottom to the top, that'll kill you. And that same rule is true on the spiritual realm, which is why we gotta make this journey we making now. So somebody dropped us down in the bottom of the ocean to explore the ocean floor, which is this earth realm, what we call in hell. When you go outside and look up at the blue sky, you like a crab at the bottom of the ocean looking up at the surface of the ocean water above you. Ain't nothing but blue when you look up. This is our ocean, and the only way we make it out of here is when we part with the body, which is the scuba diver's weights.
And that's all I wanted to ask you, bro, because I want to get my questions out because I've been waiting for a couple months for this, right? So, so maybe I'm reaching right here, or maybe I heard this from like you, or maybe that's where like the download is coming from right now, right? But where does like the flashbang comes in? You know, like a flashbang, like when the cops come, like it's like the flashbang. You know, like the Men in Black flash. Like, is it something that made us like forget? Like, we got to get somewhere. We got to remember something mentally in order to get through the seventh heavens. And like whatever you see how like that resembles like a flash.
Watch this. If you remember in the Men in Black, right, people will say, man, that's so messed up that they would delete people's memory and do them like that. But you know what's so good about it? They would never really delete people's memory. They would just delete that they knew that incident, what they just saw. So what'll happen is, if a woman was complaining about her daddy, her mama, it was scenes in Men in Black like this. And she would say how she didn't make things right with her mama. And then an alien will pop up that they gotta fight. And she see the alien. They'll hit her with the memory thing, and they'll be like, you're gonna go back and visit your mama. You're gonna patch stuff up with her. You're gonna apologize to your daddy. You're gonna get rid of that jerk of a man you got, and you never saw this alien. See, if you remember the movie, they didn't just delete your memory. They would try to do little good things. You remember them parts like that?
Yeah.
In the movie, if I'm remembering it right, I know I ain't tripping. But
yeah, and does
You
that
right.
bro, with quantum jumping, like what you saying right now, right? Because you're building, right? Like, you know, like is it called quantum jumping? Like when you die, but you really don't die, you just end up in another realm, like in a parallel universe.
Astral projection.
No. It's like I never heard of quantum jumping.
I
I
heard
have.
of it,
It's
but
like it's like
I
let's
wanna.
let's say let's just say you get into like an accident, right? Like you never really experience it. You just continue on in like a parallel universe.
Right.
Like the same
I know what you
situation
said.
didn't happen. So I'm saying like, do you think something like that happens? Like what he's saying about like the Men in Black thing? Like let's say I crash and something happens like with angels or something comes and does that, like you gonna continue this? You was right here. Like you get what I'm saying? Or am I going too deep?
I looked it up because I've heard of quantum jumping, but I just wanted to get their definition of it because I agree with what you're saying. They got a movie called Jumpers, which is crazy, the fact that you say this. But yeah, quantum jumping is a concept that they want to accredit to Burt Goldman for saying that every possible version of you exists in alternate universes. Basically what I teach, what you saying, and through meditation visualization, you can jump into a reality where you're already the person you want to become. This is true. Every version of you that can and will exist already exists, but even your greatest version is in another universe on autopilot. You ain't there. You've ever had a dream where the version of you in a dream was better than a version of you here? You quantum jump. You jump
Yeah,
into a better. So yeah,
yeah,
if
that's
you
all.
had a dream where you was rich as hell and you woke up and had to go to work, you quantum jumped.
Yo, bro, look, that's all I'm thinking too, right? Let's say like day to day, right? let's just say like your whole day, right? You wake up, right?
I
Whatever
mean, I
you do in
jump.
that day, right, Brody? Like whatever you do in that day, right? Let's just say whatever energy you take in, whatever you manifest your tomorrow you. So let's just say when you go to sleep, because you really don't know what happens when you go to sleep. So what if when you go to sleep, you wake up in another, like you manifest whatever. What if you never really every day you in a different parallel universe, but what dictates that is what you do on that day.
Yeah, I think every decision you make opens up a whole nother universe of an alternate group of possibilities that one of it. So for every decision you make, it gives birth to like an infinite new door of ways your shit can play out. And that decision changes those. It's like a game of cards where every time you play a card, they shuffle the deck before they give you a card. So the possibilities remain infinite at all times.
But they still stack it based off your past decisions.
And that's mean that, and you can start talking about the fact that it don't matter what you dealt now, it matter how you play. Because this goes back to a theory that I had at first. People say, man, look at the hands that some people dealt in life. But you know what I found out of all my years of playing cards? The better you come on, the better you get at cards, the more you value up hands.
Right.
You'll get like you get so good at cards to where it's just it feels satisfying to get them clean sweeps, but ain't nothing like having a fucked up hand and I still got 7 books and people be like,
Ooh.
how the hell he gets 7 books out of that bull crap? Cause I knew how to play it, how to trick him to get him to play it.
Right.
I knew how to get this jack in and this 10 in.
I do the whole game. I ain't just know that we'll play at cards. I know how to manipulate the entire situation. Like I do how to do all that. When it comes to cards, that's what you got to do. Like you got to trick people to. I might not have one book in my hand, but because the person that play after me think I got some books, he gonna let me get all without a book. That's what Bro Sanchez play. That's what Bro Sanchez is saying. You know what we got to do to them.
Watch the board, man. That's why they get mad at you. Like, watch the board. Once you make a mistake, they get mad. They be like, yo, watch the board, bro.
Watch the
like,
board.
I mean, that's on his grid. Like, watch the grid. Like,
your teammate at the spades table is your alternative self.
That's
having
crazy.
Those dreams might be him trying to talk to you, like, bro, watch the board. This what you making me go through. Let me show you what I'm going through over here.
It's fire because if you think about it, right? If you really think about this shit, you don't really learn how to play cards with your best hand. You learn how to play it with your worst hands. And then once you get fire with your worst hands, imagine when you do get the best hand. See, when you haven't learned how to play your worst hand, I've seen rookie card players have a fire ass hand and don't get no books for real. I look at it, I be like, man, you had all that good shit in your hand and you didn't get but 3 books. I would have got 7 books out of this shit. That's a rookie mistake. So that's the thing, because I've learned how to be good through bad hands. If you find out how to get the most out of the worst hand, then you'll never make them rookie mistakes of wasting a good hand. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what the universe. Yeah. That may be what the universe doing though, and I'm gonna fall back with that.
So Doc,
I'm saying, like, when you pay attention to like your hand, like I'm land here, like, you know what I mean, like you always gonna get the other side stuck, like just like the board, bro. Because I was I'm paying attention to like confluences, like you know what that is, bro. I know you do. Like river confluences. It's like when 2 rivers meet, like right where I'm at, right? I got 2 rivers. I got the Susquehanna River and the Shenango River. Like they meet at like a convergence point, like they meet and converge one river. And that's like energy points, stuff like that. So I'm like watching like the map and like Google Earth and like bird's eye view and putting together stuff like that and finding different like ancient portals and shit like that where they got ancient monuments and like star forts.
Yeah.
So
because we had
man.
One of the big deceptions that I done found out is, my theory is World War One wasn't the first real world war when it comes to our modern times. I feel like that war was dealing with this continent, and we had them invaders coming in, and they tried to repaint history as like they came over here nicely trying to colonize it, and it wasn't no big fuss about it. But I don't feel like that's the truth. I feel like we dealt with them for a very long time, and we fought for a very long time, and somehow at some point we got infiltrated, and then they started this little lie thing when they got that type of pull. You know what I'm saying? That's just my little theory on how they have reshaped the story of history without telling. They'll tell you the truth, but they'll manipulate it in a way where you won't know really how to respond to it. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I heard, Brody. I heard that
Hey,
World War One was
let
when
me
they
give a
bombed.
let me give a shout out to Reek Stacks. He told me to check out the old world order. They gonna show the buildings that was the earliest buildings in America, something like that. But it's a couple of videos under that, and I was trying to find the right one. I don't know if you still watching. Reek Stacks. Yeah, but salutes, my bad.
Hey, it's a channel called My Lunch Break. When you come to that them old buildings, man,
This may
you'll
be it
you'll
right
get
here.
hooked on that.
This look
It's
like it
called
right
My
here.
Lunch Break.
Damn, this may
Yeah.
be it.
Look
Let's
at all our
see.
symbolism, man. We we
And
we
all
we
the
got our
buildings.
we got our testaments in the geography all over this stuff, man. When he told me about that plane in the arch, it was, oh man, bro. Sanchez told me about that plane in the arch. I see it everywhere.
Hey, yo, bro, you think they try to make it seem like, right, we destroyed ourselves with our technology, or you think they destroyed us and stole our technology?
Mm.
I think that not too long ago we talking about very in the near past that there's something happened on this earth. We're talking about during Wild Wild West time because listen,
Yeah,
we're
Mm-hmm.
talking
Yep.
something happened to where this group of people came up to this land out of nowhere, but they showed up after this land was desecrated and and smashed apart, and big structures that we can only imagine that was probably bigger than shit in Egypt. But what I'm
right,
saying is, there's still so many structures on this land that they can't explain why it's here. That was here before the Pilgrim, and this videos like this, what I would like to watch. Uh, because I got a lot of these too where I'm showing you some of the architecture that was here. See, the people who was enslaving the so-called black man who said the black man come from Africa, I'm telling you that when they showed up, the Olmecs, the black people here who I was just telling you about, FBA, the indigenous Negro, which is me and you, I'm telling you, we built these structures that I'm showing you on the screen right now. Look at this building.
right.
And guess what? The people that enslaved us, if you look at the buildings that they were building, let me show you something. They
Little shacks
literally
and
was
stuff.
building wood
Shacks.
shacks.
They was building
They were
shacks,
building
eating
stuff like
clothes.
this. Yeah.
Yes.
Because remember now, these people said that they were the original masons, stone masons. When they got Paul Bunyan stories about being lumberjacks. So
Right.
how the hell are you a stone mason when y'all
What?
was using lumber? Think about this now.
You had
They
an
got
axe. You can't be
let
used. You
me
can't cut
let me
stone with an axe. I'm sorry.
yeah, let me get this out. Let me make my point. So these people showed up building wood shacks with mold sicknesses that come from wood, insects like cockroaches, wood things like termites, stuff like that, foundation problems. Look at here now. See, stone is more livable and sanitary, and it's able to keep you insulated, cold in the winter, in the summer, warm in the winter, stuff like that. The people who were the original stonemasons, you know who they were, because guess what? They got big ass stone Olmec heads. Now think about it. If we was building wood shacks, who was building them big stone heads of them Negroes with the ever stone? I was just showing y'all a bunch of stone stuff from the Mayans and Olmecs. The people who run this shit showed up lumberjacks, Paul Bunyan stories. And it was already stone castles all around them when they showed up. It was, you know, stuff like this was when they showed up. Let's go to this. Look. This was what's in the background. Remember, a lot of this stuff was here during the wooden shack days, and the people told y'all who built the wooden shacks that they built this stuff right here. Lies.
Y'all gotta check out my lunch break, man. I'm telling you, put it in. It goes
So look, check this out now. When these people showed up, don't you know we got pictures in the 1600s, 1700s where they taking pictures of like San Francisco, these different places. It ain't even no humans in the street, because I think there was a big kind of nuclear sized war that happened on the earth not too long ago. And just like on the Gaza Strip, right? Let's say we go to the Gaza Strip and we wipe out everybody and run them people up out of there and wipe their numbers down. The new children that's born after that war is gonna inherit this new world where they see all of these big buildings in the background from their ancestors, but the new people that just wiped us out gonna be building these new shack temporary tent houses until they able to rebuild the infrastructure. Because guess what happened? When you wipe out a people and desolate their land, it ain't that, because I'm opening y'all up to another way to look at it. It ain't that you don't know how to build these massive stone buildings like what we see here. It's that after the war, you knock down. Like if I go to New York with a war and I destroy all the buildings there, and it ain't really none too much standing but 2 or 3 of them. It ain't that the New Yorkers don't know how to build a skyscraper. It's that they don't have time to build one to reestablish themselves. So you're going to see them build little shacks and tents. You're going to see a bunch of tent cities after the war. It ain't that we can't build a big ass skyscraper. It's just that we just got displaced out of all our buildings in 2-3 days. So we need somewhere to stay tonight. So we finna go back to Shack Town, Wild West, some quick right now for the society until we can rebuild everything into the stone structures that we tore down at the last war. So I think that that's what happened in America. There was a big war. This was a stone utopia, but something happened. They went to war. Everything was desecrated. It was just a few structures left that was post-war or pre-war or whatever, and that we got busy building quick shacks to house society after a huge war until we was, because it take years to build a skyscraper. So you got to think, when you look at a skyline, all of those big pretty stone buildings come from years and years of one at a time building. If you desecrate a whole skyline in 2-3 days, you don't just build it back up overnight. That society will go into like a lumberjack society. They will compromise, and instead of saying let's build everybody stone structures and skyscrapers again, you're gonna say no, let's just do something quick and easy, and we'll probably go to a lumberjack society for a few generations before we can get all our skyscrapers back and equipment back to do stone cutting. And we lost all that in the war. You see what I'm saying, y'all?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because look, because I'm actually next, right? So, do you think that the Grand Canyon, that's like a natural like structure, or do you think that was something and they bombed that too, like around the same time? Because I know like the natural, like the pyramids here and stuff like that, that was before the Tartarian. Like we built these type of structures, like the Disneyland cathedrals and stuff like that. We was building pyramids and stuff like that. So, do you think that the Grand Canyon, that was another place that they bombed crazy, and that's why it looks how it looked? Or do you think it's what science says, like water, it was a river or something, and water eroded?
I
You get what I'm saying?
definitely can't really get really jiggy with the water thing. And it seems that it was a man-made project using tools and skills that we could only imagine today, because they think about it. If you look at these Olmec structures, man, the Olmecs was cutting stone and building on a huge scale, dog. You know what I'm saying? So what that make me think, if they was into trench and digging, if they wanted to revert water systems in North America, then they would have been doing it on Grand Canyon size scale. Because they wouldn't have been doing it on our. They make the ancients really make our building scale look like ants. Because if you compare like the ancient columns to our White House columns and Abraham Lincoln, man, we building very tiny.
Right.
Y'all know about the lidar on the pyramids over there in Egypt? They saying now that they go down like taller than the Empire State Building, go underneath it. They got pillars.
Yeah, the
And
structures that they say they found due to the radar.
yeah, they call it lidar.
I
And
feel
when
like
they
they having to tell the truth about something
Yeah.
they already knew about.
right, that's fact.
Right, right. I feel like they once again using all our tax dollars to come up with some CGI picture that look decent,
Yeah.
some dumb story that sound all right, and
Mm-hmm.
then people will forget about the pyramids again within a couple of weeks because they gonna do what they doing with it now, which is like fail it on purpose. You see, like Bro Sanchez always said it, they'll start something because they know it's coming out, and they'll fail it on purpose.
Now they doing like Sanchez says the first we were talking about earlier with the Indiana Jones thing. They hiding all the truths about it. You
It,
Right.
know,
it's it.
all the stuff they find because the Grand Canyon
Yeah.
got shit in there that places where they
Yeah.
won't let you go.
Yeah,
The
you can't go
government
Yeah,
there.
man.
Sacred stuff there, portals and stuff. Yeah.
You know what I think too about the Grand Canyon too. I do think that on the West Coast, when you talk Area 51, you can't go there. You can't go to Grand Canyon, and they talk about how the South Americans and the cartels will tell you that the tunneling systems on the West Coast are more intricate than we think, and they will tell you that like these tunneling systems under the ground can open up so big where they driving cars under there. So
Mm-hmm.
here's my theory. I think that there's always been a lot of earthquakes on the West Coast because the underground networks here is bigger than we think. They go back to ancient time, and there are so many hollow places in the ground. And I think that there are probably ways you can access different parts of the country without ever surfacing through hollow earth. This is hollow earth theory, of course. I do think
hmm
we've already populated the inner earth or the underworld, and that there
They
may
Okay.
might
be
just pour way
hollow
in.
places. I'm talking about hollow pockets under the ground as big as Texas, man.
Mm.
With false ecosystems, simulated suns. People ain't
Right.
never got to come up if they don't want water. Can all be possible. Now here's a theory. What if there are wars fought underground, and when these wars are fought, they say, "Oh, it's just an earthquake, guys. There's nothing to worry
Oh.
about."
Or they tunneling more. They opening up them big tunnels with the machines that cut
And I gotta
and
make this
bore.
disclaimer so we don't embarrass ourselves to the people listening in. Guys, I can teach you a whole lecture on plate tectonics. So don't come in here and say, you need to go back to school and learn about plate tectonics. Man, I can teach you a whole, what you want to know about plate tectonics? That ain't fun to just repeat what I was told. It's fun to question and
Right.
challenge and explore about the possibilities.
Right.
So yeah, good. Now
Because
Yeah,
you
we
we
got
got
to
a
just
put
question
that out
for
there.
you,
what you
right?
doing is you questioning the San Andreas fault line.
Right. I'm
Right. You're
saying,
not
what if
saying
it's
that
something different than what we all learned? Then
exactly. That's what
come with your. Let me hear your theory, brother. Let me hear yours. They ain't just
exactly.
got a monopoly on who can have an idea about this reality, you know.
Because
Yo,
that's
bro,
So
I need you to like expound on something because it's real important
yeah.
to me,
So
right?
salutes to y'all brothers is what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right, so you
salute
said
to you too, brother.
Yo,
right? You were
it
saying
like
Who
buildings is built by like
um
frequency. Like explain like how you were saying how like all right those buildings, those Tartarian buildings, like they resemble like frequency. Like it's like it's not like the shapes of it is just built by like natural sound or something you were saying. You remember?
that had
Yeah,
to do with
I
the
remember.
water. They all had water works around them. Some of the old buildings, and they used sound and vibration to make the water into healing water. You know what I mean? Instead of doctors, they would go to these places and heal their body.
I know what you
No, he was saying, I
talking.
understand that, bro, but he was saying something about the shape of the buildings, like, and he was
Yeah,
comparing it to like the frequency lines, like.
yeah. I remember what you saying, and you know what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna go back and grab the cause I remember the slide you talking about. I had a whole slide for that,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll just grab that for you and
I just watched that
I'll
video
redo
like
it.
the other day.
Yeah, bro,
But
'cause
we
that's
all know, we all know what's under Area 51. We all know that, right?
Nah, teach me, brother.
The ISS, a big ass swimming pool, and the ISS.
Facts.
Hey, yo, my brothers, my brother.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in Memphis. It's like Elon Musk coming to Memphis, building his supercomputer. I feel like he did reactivating it. He did coming down here to reactivate this joint.
That
He
part.
already had it down here. He did reactivating
He got the green light from their little team to go be the
it.
one to be the face of turning it on.
so
You know what I'm
so
saying?
Yeah.
so so check this out, y'all. I'm finna freak y'all out when the brother was asking me about architecture and sound waves. I did like a mini lecture within one of my lectures back in the day. I may need to make this his own lecture and just upload something like this. But
Please do.
let me show y'all something, right? If this finna get real deep, I only need about maybe 3 minutes. So watch this. Watch this. Sound waveform moving GIF. So what I'm gonna show you, if you look at what our universe is, let me pull this up. This is a good one. Actually, that ain't the way that a sound wave move. Let's get a realistic one. That's the way that it moves. That's more realistic. But I'm gonna show you why I'm getting this though in a minute. It's gonna blow you the hell away. Because Tesla said, if you want to learn the secrets of the universe, think in sound, vibration. I'm gonna use that sound wave. Okay, here go a good one. This is a good one. This is the one I want. So now we looking at basically a waveform. So when somebody talking, this will represent the person's words moving in a waveform. But I will also want to compare this to this. When fire is burning, fire burns like a waveform. Now watch this. It's gonna get deep. Let's pull that up. A city skyline. When you look at a city skyline can be looked at as burning fire. A city skyline can be looked at as a waveform that's moving. Now, check this out. If we start to look at our world like what I'm about to show you, Tesla says something gonna click and we gonna crack the code eventually. So think about what I'm about to tell you. If you look at this city skyline, if you fast forward over 200 years, then this big building right here may get tore down, and the biggest building may be right here next time. Then for 50 years, then after them 50 years, you know, if you rewind this skyline over hundreds of years and just look at the buildings morphing and what's getting built and destroyed and morph, the tallest building gonna change in 200 years. It ain't gonna be that one gonna fall or gonna wreck another. It's just gonna, what it's gonna look like is this. How some flames get small, some get big. It's gonna look like this. So every action we do, when the Bible say it's the word, in the beginning was the word. Everything that's happening on the earth horizon is like spoken word, and I love spoken word. I'm a poet. But that's why I'm so in love with the Creator, because these are words manifesting into actions on a cosmic level, playing out day to day on the earth horizon skyline in the form of our very landscape. The environment around us reflects the environment within us. So the environment within us is the word, and the word will be done. So that's what turns into a environment, a city skyline. See, this city skyline is not just a random skyline of buildings. It represents a cymatic frequency which taps you into the frequency of this particular geographic location. So you can black every building out and just give me a silhouette of this city. And the moment I see this silhouette of New York or Seattle, I'ma automatically get a vibe. If you give me the silhouette of LA in a waveform, I'ma think Dickies, and it's so much that's gonna go in my head. Just your city skyline is a waveform, a cymatic frequency that represents the very vibe of your city. Trust me, if your city skyline was different, the vibe of your city will be different. This is how interconnected we are with the environment, that the way you talk, the way you move around in your posture comes from a macro of your city, and your city gets its vibe. See, here's the thing about us. We're cymatic creatures. We're like sound. And me being a musician, guess what I learned? Spaces shape sound. So if I say, hey, in my garage, it's going to be different than if I say, hey, in a Taj Mahal. If I say A in the Taj Mahal, it's going to be like, it's going to be cathedral. Like if I go in a cathedral or a church and say my name, it's going to sound different than if I say my name in a small bathroom. So the room, the environment I'm in is going to give that sound its frequency, its acoustic, its characteristic is going to come from its acoustics. So watch this. Every single person where they from is getting their characteristic from the acoustics based upon the cymatic environment, based upon architecture. Listen what I'm telling you now. A person from the South is literally walking and talking like what the South look like. Now, I know that ain't hidden now, but watch this. If you go to Thailand or China and just look at the city, the way the building shape the way the people sound when they talk and how the people look. The buildings got these slants that resemble the slants in their eyes. The building got these particular patterns in the architecture that you can find in their music too, and even in their eating styles. If you pick up on syncretism with the parallels, that the way that a person, when they say we're a product of our environment, I'm teaching you this on a cymatic level right now. I'm putting that on steroids with this, on some Tesla shit. So watch this, right? I'm telling you based on my theory, if you were to change what a person environment look like around them, it'll make them change the way they present themselves from the inside. You literally see a dude from New York, he walk and talk a certain way based upon using the subway, based upon it being congested, based upon it being noisy. It's so many things that makes him him. Versus if you come from a place where it's quiet, it ain't congested, you may want to speak to everybody you pass by. Person from New York may not speak to every single damn person, country bumpkin. See, our environment dictate how we act in that environment. And we don't really pay attention to these subtle, simple things that makes us us. But Tesla did. Tesla was so in tune with it, in my opinion, based on what he was saying, that he knew what I'm saying. But watch this. I'm finna take this deep. I'm gonna show you how I know what I'm talking about. Here is a collage I made of a castle next to a waveform. You can do this experiment, right? Go pull up any religious castle or ancient temple on the earth and listen to the music that they're making inside of that temple or that castle, and tell me, will that music fit any other setting on earth? It won't. See, certain buildings on earth were created to invent certain genres of music. Now I'm finna go real deep with y'all. A person may say, where does music genres come from? Sound come from acoustic environment. When you say, man, I like neo soul, or I like jazz, or I like country, I'm telling you, our ancestors literally manufactured genres of music by manufacturing the architecture to support a certain acoustic and vibe. So what happened was, you can take that same piano that you played in this church into this particular church, and you will get a different reverb and acoustic, which will require a different tempo and percussion and drum style. And essentially, you just created another genre just by compromising because of your acoustic environment. I'm giving you the foundation of how music genres was intentionally created in the ancient world, whereas today we kind of stumble across them. Now listen, every building, if you look at the architecture of these old buildings and listen to the music they playing in them, the music fit the building style. So much so that if you take the music that they planned for this ancient cathedral here and try to play it in like any other setting, go to a fairground or in a car, it won't hit the same. And that's because this building was making. Think we done cut out. Drop a one. Hold up. I know y'all hear me. Let me talk to the chat a second. If you in the chat, drop a one if y'all can hear me. So what I was saying was, we're not looking at these ancient buildings the right way. A lot of people may say, why would they go out of their way to build this big fancy cathedral? And it would be so intricate. It'll be a cathedral that's like, if you look at this right here, man, this is a headache. It's easier to just build a cube building or a skyscraper, something that's boxy. But if you look at this, it's literally resembling a sound wave. So these are people that are the gods of architecture, if you want to say. But what I wanted to say was, we didn't just make fancy style buildings because it looked good. It was all inspired by music. Our ancestors was creating different vibes. You see different shaped castles, but they was making different vibes. Hold on a second. I think we buffering again. Why wasn't them going in with the knowledge? Hold up, y'all. But like I was saying, all right, we back. Check this out, right? Our ancestors weren't just making fancy shaped buildings. It's like me saying, I want you to build me a studio a certain way so I can get a certain sound out of it. You dig? It's like me saying, look, I'm going to have someone custom build my studio so that the reverb that I get inside of that studio is going to sound this way. The acoustics I'm going to get when I play my guitar in there, right? So the acoustic environment, building spaces for acoustic purposes became so advanced that the castles and these intricate buildings that we see around the world, these were all inspired from music. They were inspired so that when you go in them and you play your instrument, you will get a reverb in this castle that you can't get nowhere. That's like right now, right? They selling something online called the Taj Mahal reverb or the Roman Cathedral reverb, the Colosseum. That's because if you stood up in the middle of the Roman Colosseum and you said, "Are you not entertained?" You will go, have that same feel kind of that they trying to capture back in the gladiator time. You can't get that sound without that acoustic space. So a lot of these churches and big mosques, like, it was literally designed for the choir, for the instruments that's being played in it. So that when they play that shit in there, it'll really make the people get the Holy Ghost. Like, the way that the church is acoustically is made on an architecture level, the environment is its own reverb and acoustic. So when you see these big mega churches constructed in these kind of traditional ways, when they play the organ up in there, now a lot of them you'll see the box churches, but they doing the reverbs and all that with instruments today. It's electronic. You can think about what I'm saying. Today, us musicians are electronic musicians. If you want a certain reverb, you can just put an effect on there on your computer. But if they wanted a certain acoustic effect to their instrument or a certain reverb, they literally had to build a whole building to make so that when they play their piano in there, it'll sound like it's in heaven. They was trying to create these cathedrals so that the acoustic atmosphere inside of it could resemble these mythological places that they was making in our imagination. Like heaven, like, you know, when you open up the doors of heaven, it's like, oh, it got this certain reverb effect to it. They didn't get, that ain't a reverb that literally come out the sky. It come from ancient acoustic spaces like cathedrals and stuff. So when they play the instrument in there, you get this heaven effect in them big cathedrals.
Okay, so bro, sorry to cut you off, but it's gonna add to this, right? So, so do you think like they usually have like organs and harps in it, right? So maybe this is like a reach, but do you think like the organs is like the organs, and the harp is the hill like the heart, or something like that?
So I do think that all of the instruments in the church, when they say that the church is a place of healing, I don't think the reason the ancestors didn't have, when they think about it, they didn't have hospitals in the ancient world, but they had churches and temples everywhere, and they called those places of healing. And I do think that there are certain healing techniques that are based solely on sound vibration. And this would be the foundation of people praying for you, people singing and the mother saying, oh, I'm healed because of the choir. I do think that there's a possibility there's some science to this, but we ain't tapping into the right frequencies and everything that would actually do that like the ancestors was into.
And do you think like that's where they get like holy water from? Like
Yep.
letting the vibration hit the water and like then I guess drinking the water.
Based
And
on
just
the Emoto experiment, that water can be programmed. If you tell it I hate you and you look at the water molecules under the microscope or whatever, they're distorted. If you tell it I love you, they make perfect sacred geometrical shapes. So if taking that science and holy water, healing water, you got to think, if everyone went in this church with good vibrations, good energy, I love you, hallelujah, praise the Lord, happiness, peace, and there's this flowing water, because they had rivers that flowed through the church, and they would actually use the water pressure to feed the chutes on the side of the church to make this sort of chiming noise. But the organ, all of these instruments was literally charging the water around the church. These big moats around the church wasn't for military purposes. When we saw the water flowing through the bottom of the church, that was the real holy water. Now today they would tell you, well, a lot of these churches have flowing water connected to them for this reason or that reason, is lies. I do think that there's a history to holy water, healing water, drink it and you're healed, based upon programming water with good intent. And if the church was a place that, if everyone just came there in their most highest spirit, we're electrical beings, water absorb electricity. So if this is true, the water around and near the church would have been so electrically charged that simply drinking from it would have cured any illness from the body, if this is
hey,
true.
bro, you connected a major dot for me, bro. Because I told you, like, I'm studying confluence points, and I'm looking at the map, like Google Earth, and like a bird's eye view, right? And I noticed like the churches is always by a river,
Mm-hmm.
like always by a river. So that just explains why they, damn, and plus schools too, schools and baseball fields for like some reason.
Mm.
And plus, I know you can break down the baseball field.
Yeah,
How
I'm
that?
gonna save them on that one, but because I'm gonna have to go to another collage, y'all gonna have me here 8 hours, man. But yeah, this is getting deep. I ain't gonna lie though. We are, because look at this right here, man. These are the kind of buildings that was standing when they was building wood shacks. Stuff like this, bro, they didn't build this. Come on now. These are the arguments that I would debate somebody. That we didn't build. Bro, I'm telling you, I don't think we built none of this. Because
But my question,
how we built this, but we was living in wooden shacks with this standard.
Hey, yo, bro, go right there. Where you at right now? Press
the
that.
question is, if we were building it with the
That
modern government, why do we stop?
Right.
that's crazy right there. At that time, if we had lamps and stuff, right, and we have electricity, how was this built? That was a whole city with like lights.
That's
I
what
think
I'm
that's the
saying.
place where they had the moving sidewalks. They had
This
sidewalks that moved.
this what people ain't realizing, right? When this world right here existed, you still had a world with dirt roads, horses and shit on the road, and wood shacks at the same time this world existed. That's what I'm telling. So that's why I said something happened, and basically the whole world looked at like this right here at first until some war happened and we went to dirt roads, wild, wild west. They destroyed a lot of this stuff and said, we never knew about electricity. We never knew about this kind. And now they play dumb like, who built it? How did it get here? Who could have built the pyramid? What they don't want to tell you, we already reached the height of technology and they destroyed it all and we just rebuilding it back.
Exactly.
Cause like you said, that might involve having to tell us that, hey, we stole y'all ancestor stuff and then we just gave it to you.
It's just that everything, the shit hit the fan and everything is just wrapped in.
Right. Once you tell us where you got it from.
They gotta hide so much because what happened was this. What I think happened. Some people who never knew about this kind of world that I'm showing you on the screen, because the people who came here, what I'm saying is, all they knew was dirt roads, horse and cattle, primitive lumberjack type people, and they came over here. You know that they was primitive because they even came over here on wooden ships. They're lumberjacks. They even roll wooden ships, man. Now listen, when they came on their wooden ships, they sailed into a stone city of Freemasons. Now they told everybody, when they tell the history about these stone builders, they tell everybody we're Flintstone people. Like, they make fun of it, the Flintstones and that. But the real way you want to look at these stone workers were like what I'm showing you on the screen. The people who were lumberjacks, they showed up in America, and this is the kind of stuff that they saw when they got here. And they were amazed at what they saw, like, damn, these people are smart. And guess what? They learned at our schools. And guess what they told you? That they learned from the Egyptians. But who listen, the Egyptians weren't the only ones teaching this knowledge of stonework. See, this was being taught in the Americas too by the Olmecs and Maya. Now watch this, right? Who had the same knowledge of the stars the Egyptians and everybody else had. Now watch this, right? When they came over here to America, they saw another stone empire of gods who knew about electricity and all that, because that's how we was cutting the stones. They want y'all to think we was cutting it rock with rock. That's stupid. But watch this, right? Now, they were lumberjacks. They came over here, they stumbled across a heaven. Imagine being born in a land and your age of exploration just started. And y'all got out on these flimsy ass wooden boats, barely made it, like a refugee on a banana boat. And you come up to the shore of these lands and see utopias. You see these magnificent pyramids of great ass, like, empires that you never thought existed. You just begin your age of exploration. Now watch this. You start going to these people's schools, learning their ways, and guess what happened after they learned their ways? They got their numbers up. They infiltrated government. They turned on the people. A war broke out. And these ancient empires that we looking at were desecrated and just a small, because they had enough technology back then to wipe out entire cities. Tesla said that he had a damn remote control that can drop the whole Brooklyn Bridge in a few seconds. This the kind of technology that Tesla had, and he was learning it from the ancients. So that was a great war fought on this earth with some very advanced technology in the not too long ago past, and we just now resetting from a post-apocalyptic war that was just fought, if you ask me.
And that makes sense if you look at how society works. Usually the military gonna have more advanced equipment than your infrastructure builders. So if we cutting stone with electricity, we blowing cities off the map with electricity too. Just off that logic, you know what I'm saying? Because like the military gonna automatically should be stronger than the people building buildings. When it comes to technology, I would rather have my military to have the most advanced equipment. Did you see what I'm saying? Like how they move today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Yeah,
bro,
yeah.
like they just now getting to like the point where they like building like Empire State Building, this and the third. Like they still didn't get to like this level. Like they still don't know how to. Like they still behind. Like we actually catching up to them. Like even though
Yeah.
our memory was like wiped, like we slowly catching up to them because they not that far. Because they just re-engineering what we already had. So we just
Right.
follow the same thing that they're doing. Like we can probably lap them. That's the thing. Now just power. That's why we on like the right track.
And it just don't make sense because, like, you see this building right here, right? Now look at how big this building is in relation to the people that's walking. Let's just hit play, so you can see how the people look like ants. You can see this real quick. You see how these look. So my whole point with this right here, if you go to the Roman Colosseum today and look at the ruins of the Roman Colosseum, this is the same scale that the Romans was building on, and you want me to think that these lumberjacks that showed up were making architecture that's equivalent to the ancient Romans? Come on now. Y'all hear? We don't have architecture today that's equivalent to the Romans or the Egyptians.
Well, over there in Europe, there were black people running Europe too till they came and did the same thing. They inherited those
crazy.
Boston too. Those monuments ain't theirs.
Facts.
Ain't no way you finna tell me that a dude riding on dirt roads who listen now, they shit on the street in wooden shacks, right? But you built this stone castle that's embedded into a whole mountain. Let me show y'all some of this shit now. It just don't make sense when you look at the world, what they telling us, man. Listen, there's clearly two different people coexisting at a certain point on Earth. And I call them the stone workers and the lumberjacks. Now, the stone workers go back to the Mayan, the Egyptians, the Olmecs. These lumberjacks showed up with a primitive way of living, and they learned some new knowledge from these gods, is what I'm gonna call them. And now they rebuilding their whole world. They tore down our world, most of the structures, and now they are popping up. You may say, how did they go from building wooden shacks in the wild, wild west a few years ago to now we got skyscrapers all over the place? And you see what I'm saying? How did they advance this quick? Because listen, they already knew the knowledge of how to build the World Trade Center even during this time. Look at these buildings. Some of these buildings more harder to build than the damn World Trade Towers. So what I'm telling y'all is this right here. The people who was living in wooden shacks, they weren't dummies. They were using a temporary housing for society to go through a time till they can reset after this great war. They went to school at our schools and they learned how to work the stone. They learned electricity. They learned how to build skyscrapers and all that. Then when they learned it, they tore everything up, destroyed everything, went to war, boom, 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 so that they can rebuild a whole world with the knowledge and act like they was the first ones to discover the whole knowledge. See, it wasn't enough for them to learn from our ancestors and go somewhere and apply their knowledge and build their own stuff. They didn't want to just get the knowledge from the ancestors. They wanted to be the ancestors. So they said, you know what? Everything these people built and did, we want to relive their experience. So let's tear everything down that they made, and we want to be them. We even gonna name ourselves what they named themselves. Think about this, right? There's a Lifetime movie that I watched because I had to watch it. My mom's used to watch that shit. You in there with her, but I never forget it. This lady, it's a famous one. Everybody watched this one, where the lady mimicked this lady lifestyle. She wanted the lady husband, but she started wearing the same clothes as the lady, bought the same car as the lady. She became the lady, tried to do her makeup. It was weird. Listen, the invader saw what we built and who we were, and he wanted to be us. He wanted to be in your skin. Man, I don't know if y'all ever met a motherfucker that hates you so much because they mad that the universe didn't make you them. They say, man, this nigga's so fucking fly. Fuck that nigga. And it's only fuck you because I can't be you. Man, if I could have been Sanchez, I would have loved Sanchez. But since I ain't Sanchez, fuck him. That kind of person. And if I can off Sanchez and resurrect Sanchez, that'll be my damn dream. I'm telling you the mind of the invader. The invader wanna be that which he conquered. He only conquered it so he can swap identities with it. He wanna live your experience. You ever saw somebody like that? They will even tell your story. Man, you listen, you will get around somebody and be like, yeah, your friend came over. He told me a crazy story about how he had found $10 from a crackhead and all that. And you be like, man, that's my story. I told him that story. I went through that. He told you he went through that? Them kind of niggas.
Right.
And it'd be crazy because like that same person would have told you like, damn man, that shit corny, man, that's a lie story. And then tell the story like it was popping to somebody else and claim it. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
So they downplay your knowledge while they in your face, and then they regurgitate it behind your back.
And the main continent they do that to is America. That's why we trying to get people to realize, like, with the Pan-African movement, all the Hebrew Israelite thing, the only reason they'll even do that to you is because of the very land you standing on is way more important than Africa. That ain't meaning Africa ain't important. I'm just saying, if the enemy moving like that, well, he's obviously scanning the world, observing what's going on, and he's looking at certain civilizations. He's seen some over here. Well, he felt like, it wasn't even a feel like they gave everything they had and could to come conquer and learn what we had to learn. Like, so it got to be something major here. You know what I'm saying?
And yo, Brody, what you think about these buildings being bigger? Like this building right here. Do you think this particular building is bigger? Do you think the bottom half is buried? Because I know a lot of them are.
Like Easter Island type
Yeah.
deal.
Like
No,
a lot of these buildings do got underground, like what they'll say about underneath every castle is like the mystery that's underneath every pyramid. Dungeons and chambers and intricate networks that can go on and kind of the same thing they say about the mysteries underneath the pyramids. Man, listen, we can go into that stuff with a lot of these buildings too. Like you know,
they actually
it's
dug out the Capitol building, bro. Because it was small at one point. If you look it up, like you'll like see that they dug it up and made
yeah.
it bigger.
I'm
Oh,
just
so they
saying
didn't.
too, yeah, because they've been raising the surface layer. So, like I believe the ground was lower at some point
Right.
because there are a lot of buildings that they halfway just buried under the ground, right at the window part. Like, who would do that? It don't make no sense. It's almost like somebody lifted the ground up or some shit. And it's like,
It go along with the mud floods because I was born in Columbus, Georgia, and we got warehouses, with old factories and stuff, and they got they not covered no more at that level, but you can see when they were. If I know how to explain it, like the bricks are stained. You know what I'm saying? Like they dirty. You know what I'm saying?
stuff like this right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems as if There was an old world beneath our feet that was literally buried in time. Literally buried. And that old world beneath our feet is what we call in the cartel networks, the secret government. They still use the old world, but we calling it the hollow earth, the inner earth theory. But I'm
Catacombs
telling,
and stuff.
yeah, it's there. It just everybody moved to the surface and kind of start using that old world for sewage systems and modern day infrastructure when we moved up to like the surface and shit. So like more to the surface. But I'm
Yeah.
saying, I'm saying like there may have been like we was living in this sort of advanced double decker society where you had an equal population below and above the surface, where we had a whole where we say, all right, man, I'm about to go to the underworld because there's this huge term that was used in the ancient world where it was called a underworlds plural. And I'm saying if we want to look at that shit literally, what if there were worlds beneath the ground that people knew that we could not only travel around, but we can travel up, down, because there are whole cities that's highly elevated above the horizon. I'm talking about there's cities above the clouds in some of these mountain areas. And you got people visiting above the earth, going traveling upwards. And likewise, you got people visiting people under the ground, in the ground, and on the surface. But now we just know the surface. But that's what I was saying. I think the ancestors had populated the earth so much and they was so populated and advanced that that there may have been inner earth societies and all that.
Yeah, so instead of like
Yeah.
culling instead of culling the population, they just use their stone masonry to build underground.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
So
maybe
so
that'll
basically,
explain,
so
yeah.
so basically, bro, they bombed it, like they befriended us, came back, bombed it. Um, I guess that caused something. I guess Atlantis was here, I guess, and stuff like that. Like we had like a water system. Like most of the highways was like water passageways. So I guess I'm just guessing right. And this is a theory from what we looking at. And then so when they bombed this, like it caused some type of flood and reaction with our like water system. And they came over here with those incubator babies. They came over here on those ships, on those wooden ships, and to populate it fast, they started making those incubator babies. But I'm trying to figure out us, like how do we survive? And because I understand like we don't die, we multiply, but I just want to really learn like the physical reason, like how did we survive that?
Mm.
Because I could see how like they came, okay, so they came over here when we was already wounded. They teamed up on us, bombed us. And then whatever the mud flood happened, and they came over here and started building stuff. They started re-engineering our stuff, like the bits and pieces from like the bombing. They was putting it back together, I guess, because at this time too, bro. Remember, like you said it earlier, they had scooters, they had electric scooters, electric cars. That's what they not showing. Like at that time when they had the dirt roads, they had electric cars, everything. So they were slowly like enjoying the fruit of our labors, like visiting our parks. At the same time, re-engineering it and tearing it down and rebuilding it and claiming like they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's making sense to me right now. And then you got Coney Island. Like if you look at like the signs, Coney Island in like Brooklyn, it used to be called Cloney Island. So I'm like
Yeah.
guessing that's where like a place where they was making those incubator babies, and that's how they populated so quick.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah,
definitely.
I've heard of that before. That's interesting. Yeah, I've explored that conversation. Makes sense though. Like that's what we're doing because this world has been here so long and man have been fumbling around with technology and stuff so long. They don't want us to know. Like somebody said ain't nothing new under the sun for a reason. Think about this, right? A person may say it's royal to live in a castle. You know why? Some of the most expensive castles in the world, they've been here for centuries. I can't make this up. Think about it now. If you wanted to splurge out and you was rich as hell, you can literally go buy you an old queen's castle, some 16th century shit. And if you look at like something like this, look, like let's pull up, you can get and that course you gonna refurbish it or whatever. But why do we say like Queen Elizabeth? Why does she live in stuff like this? Why do like the richest people? Think about this now. If you look at this castle right here, this is 15th century, but look at how intricate the stonework is. It's so intricate that even in 2025, we still equate luxury experiences to being in a castle. But if you ever think about it, a castle is an old ass architectural structure. But even you in 2025 feel like it's still like it's, because you know why? The architecture in the 15th century was damn near the height of technology. We're just now re-arriving back at a point where our modern architectures can even rebuild a castle, because what we doing is making big blocks, big boxes. Like that's easy, squares. So there is a lot of intricate architecture in our time, but you gotta look at how intricate a lot of these castles and stonework was in the 15th century, and ask yourself, ain't no way that the pilgrim just showed up and think about this now. This is crazy. These pilgrims showed up in the 15th century with a wooden ship, but they started building stone castles. Now, my whole thing is this right here. If you can build a stone castle, you should be able to build a steel ship or iron ship, in my opinion. Because
or
look,
at least some type of balloon technology while you on the water.
I believe that, man. Your ship technology should be better than wood. Now, of course, because think about this. They were cutting stone with metal, not stone with stone. So what I'm saying is the people that was cutting these stones, they had iron breastplates, iron. They was forging metals, is what I'm saying. Right. So they was forging metals and metallurgy and all that. The stone workers were metallurgists, is what at the same time is what I'm saying. So once you into metal work, you're thinking more of a steel ship now. And I'ma just be honest, man. A wooden ship on the ocean for 3 months, that's a risk with 400 motherfuckers on there. Listen, nails is holding your ship together. Nails, man, that you knelt in with your hand. And you got 400 people in there, not to mention how many gallons of water you got to store for everybody. And listen, let me tell you how silly it is now. You got these big wooden ships, but you got these steel big iron cannons mounted to them, which is stupid. If you can forge a steel cannon, you can make a steel ship, dummy.
Right.
It just don't make none what they telling us makes sense. Like, who builds a wood ship and you nailing in nails with hammers and you're mounting heavy ass, bro? One of them cannons weigh, you know how much this shit weigh, bro? Then you got all of these slaves, you got tons of water, gallons just drinking water. And cannons and shit, ammo. Oh man, food.
Hey, yo, bro, just like you
medicine.
said, they was too busy making seasons and shit.
And y'all, come on, man. They on this all this weight is on this wooden structure that was made by you nailing. I want the next time y'all nail a nail in the wall.
Real talk.
I do house
just
maintenance,
remember this shit.
house. That's why I be looking at the construction part. So critique why I do house maintenance. I work with building materials every day. You can't tell me these folk were building with stone. That's no.
God
Nope. I
damn.
just can't go for it. Not because I look at our modern technology, what they build with now be raggedy. So if
God
castles
damn.
and pyramids lasting thousands and thousands of years, these people had nothing to do with that because they can't make a house that lasts 100 years, man. No, absolutely
Telling
not.
you, every shack that they built in the Wild Wild West, it is not standing today. But every castle that was built in the 15th century is still standing right now. This was here before you came and gonna be here when you leave. And you still can't match the architectural might of the ancestors. Come on now. And people think the ancestors something to play with, boy.
Come on.
Come on now.
Just like bro, like the lighthouses, right? The old world ones, right? You remember they use mercury and I think is it mercury and copper? They mix it to make the lighthouse work and like spin it.
I heard about Mercury being in the top of the lighthouse,
Yeah,
but
they
I
mix it.
forget. Yeah.
So that's what they put. And plus on most of like these churches, like they had took like on most of those buildings in those churches, they had took something from out the top. There's always something like missing. They
Yeah.
said like that was like something that was like a battery, like that will power up like the whole cathedral or the whole building.
Yeah,
Yep.
we have free energy, man. What they came
Free
over here, we
energy.
weren't paying for nothing.
That's facts.
That's
It's
that first
free
problem they
energy.
had. They couldn't control us because there was no power structure. We was all good. Everybody went to school. Whatever you want to do, you became that, and you became great at it. And we knew what life was about. Like Bro Sanchez said, life was about purging yourself of these impurities and raising your frequency. We knew that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they had to figure out a way to control us. At first, you got to
Uh,
take away the free.
Another thing with the wood ships, wind current doesn't even blow for that long to travel to have much travel
Damn, I
over a
just thought
mile.
about
Wind
that.
current don't even go that far like that.
I just thought
It
about
don't
that.
even blow. Yeah, well, the wind current doesn't blow
That's
so
another reason,
powerful to where it carry.
That's another reason,
Yeah.
we ain't come from Africa because that means, with that being said, you will have to you will have to get lucky an unlimited amount of times to keep going back and forth and getting slaves back and forth. Like, can't nobody die.
Yeah.
Wind can't blow the wrong way. Ain't no hurricanes coming. Ain't no pirates bootlegging y'all. Nothing's going wrong for like 100, 400 years. Like, that's why I don't believe in slavery because it's like, y'all was perfect for 400 years, but y'all don't have the Steve Nashes or the Michael Jordans to talk about with this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, who was
My
the best
power.
ship driver? Who figured out how to pack 600 niggas? Who was the nigga that said
Hey,
this how you pack
yo,
600
they said that they brung 12 million niggas, and they said that they brung 26,000 only to the US alone. So that means 26,000 niggas turn into how much is it now? 42 million in like a couple hundred years. That's crazy.
The numbers is crazy, bro. The math don't math. When you really start mathing it up, it don't math at all. Like, that stuff don't add up at all.
And then what happened to the Indians? So what? They just let the niggas live and just killed all the Indians because at one
That
point
part.
it was exactly the same population. It was 600,000 niggas and 600,000 Indians.
If
So
I'm
You
trying
know,
to
you
find
know,
slaves for land, wouldn't I want the slaves to be from that land because they know how to work the land?
but you know, the whole thing about just a wooden ship with with all that weight on it, and you just to think of these people nailing each nail with their hand, right? And this ship got to be on the ocean for 3 months. But here go the kicker: the time you would have to leave West Africa and head to the Americas would be during the time where the winds and the storms is heavy because you want to take advantage of those trade winds. So the thing about modern ships, we build them to take a beating by the ocean because you ain't gonna sail against the current. And if the key is I'm gonna sail with the current and take advantage of natural forces, the natural forces are trade winds. That means just like an airplane in the sky, the stronger the wind is, the better for me. Granted that I'm not in a wooden motherfucking plane.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's crazy.
And they had no electronic devices to pinpoint and tell them how strong the current is going to be.
You're basically riding rough wind, like you in a seat. Yeah, you going at you. Cause think about this now. You got this heavy ass wooden structures. It's barely being held together by anything with integrity, because a nail straight to wood ain't a good bond for a structure that's finna have this amount of weight on top of the deck, and it's going through the kind of beating that sea you about to take, and you got cannons and gallon waters and 400 slaves on some shit that's got a damn blanket at the top waiting on the wind to blow.
What you said? What you said?
Now, like, I see sailboats every day, but they ain't designed to do what the Nina Pinta and Santa Maria did. Hold on, I'm just saying, your slave ship is literally a big sailboat, man. This is a joke.
You ever notice how when they be surfing, not to be surfing, they always catch the wave, right?
Yeah.
And how long them waves last? Them waves don't even last like
you 20, can miss
25, 30 seconds.
Yeah, if you turn away too long, you will miss that wave.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. So they weren't even using waves then. Nah,
so how do y'all think the colonizer got over here then? So
how what now?
Somewhere.
How what now?
How the colonizer got over here.
Now watch this, right? Here's how I think the colonizer got over here. Exactly how he said he did, on a wooden ship. But guess what though? It was only 50 motherfuckers on a big wooden ship. He didn't have no 400 people with tons of water, 10 cannons. See, he would have needed all that just to support his lie that I brought the black folks from West Africa. Well, if you did that, you gotta protect your treasure with guns. You gotta have water. Now you weighing your ship up. Now you making your story not make sense. But I'm telling you, it's some truth to the lie. I'm just saying, yeah, they came on wood ships and all that. It's possible, yeah, you can do that, but not with the weight and the conditions they saying with all that cargo. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm. Now, if somebody tell me 50 foreigners came on a ship and made friends with our ancestors and said, hey, can we go back and get more of our people? And they started coming on 50 to 100 at a time on these big wooden ships. And eventually we told them, look, man, we got better ships than the stuff you got. Now, I'm just theorizing now because he asked a good question. I'm saying, look, what if they got cool with us first, just like they say the Pilgrims got cool with the Indians, right? And we told them, look, y'all almost killed yourself on them big wooden ships, man. Let us, y'all some dumbasses, man. You could have died. Now let us, God, show you how to make a better ship. They went to our schools and they said, you know what, now we thank you guys. We can go back and get more of our people and bring them here. Now watch this. The story of people trying to get to America on banana boats, inflatables, and they so desperate they coming on wooden ships and contraptions. This is an old story, and this is what the Pilgrim journey started with in America, like a refugee on a banana boat, but his banana boat was a little more fancy. It was wooden, but it still was a contraption for he met. Here's my thing right here. This is my theory, and I'm saying that, look, what if somebody coming from a messed up place, they stumble across America, we give them the knowledge, and then they start bringing more of their people here, and breeding, getting their numbers up. They keep learning from us. They teach their children the knowledge of what we giving them. And next thing you know, now they get their numbers up so good, they start to get into government. We start to treat them equal, right? And they start to go like what's going on now with the immigrants, right? And they bring more people on, and they bring family members, and then next thing you know, they the governors down, they the mayors, and you at the bottom. And I'm saying, what if this story of America is older than we think?
Right.
Yeah, and
Of course it
in the
is.
pit,
Of course
yeah,
it
and
is.
yeah, there you go.
Of course it is. For sure.
These
No, that
pills,
definitely made the most sense. Like, say for instance, we're a superpower back in the days. They don't want to tell us that, so we know that Europe is messed up at that time. You know, Victorian era or whatever. They didn't messed up their whole little situation, so they low key immigrating over here, and we probably trying to be nice, and they slimed us out.
Hey, bro, did you see the vid where they have like the old world dudes? They in like the those machines that's like hovering. They got like the space suits and all that already. They got like the hovering suits. I forgot what they call it, bro. They got them in GTA. The on the pack suit where you like you
yeah,
like
I
like they
remember.
got old world people doing that. So like why not make that a big deal? Why try to act like y'all just invented that recently when it's videos of y'all testing out these equipment, all this equipment, like all these like ships and that we had. Like it goes deep, man.
You know what? What trip? All of these castles too had these water river like a moat around them. I'm gonna show this to you. You can see it in this one too. And look, all of the star forts had it too. I'm gonna show the star. You see, it's a bridge up under there to let the water run around the castle. I want y'all to check this style out. You see it on that one there, and you notice all of these castles are next to water, right? And what I'm trying to explain is that they would have used that water to make the electricity, free energy. See, the water would have flowed through, it would have flowed around the castle, and they would have turned that current, water current, into electricity as it flowed through this little pod right here. They just now bringing that back today. They got the technology now where they turning waves into energy. They put these things in the water, and they using the natural, because energy is just motion. And if you could translate the motion of anything into energy, that's free energy. What's gonna keep moving? The ocean, the water current. So a lot of these castles were built near the ocean, and these things would have had electricity, uh, real electricity in there. Wasn't nobody burning candles in this mother. So
Right.
it's a reason why there's an antenna on top of that castle, because they was sending Wi-Fi signals. They was into radio broadcasts. These different castles was communicating with each other. So every castle had an antenna. This was like your first radio stations. So in my opinion, if you look at a lot of churches, castles, cathedrals, they had antennas, because guess what? That was free music always playing in these places, because when the water ran through the system, it would activate these big chimes that would have been therapeutic and healing. It was natural music. It would have ran through certain pipe systems. The pipes would have made music sounds even when nobody's playing it, is what I'm telling you, just by the water flowing through. And they could have broadcasted that sound throughout everyone with an antenna. That's your first radio stations, healing frequencies. Healing frequencies. See, I'm thinking of an advanced ancient utopia that had very simple technology that we overlooked, but it was just enough to make a heaven on earth. And just we said too much of anything will hurt you. Now we're transhumans. Now we can't put the phone down. But I'm saying that was a point where we had just enough technology to make heaven. And this was like this Tartarian moment everybody talking about.
Yeah, we had like a perfect balance.
Yeah.
The golden age.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Hey, so with that tech though, do you think
Because,
they had like submarines already that they
oh,
could build up
hell
on us
yeah,
with?
hell yeah. And I'm going to say this
Okay.
too. When people say the golden age, you want to know how we know that the golden ages are all in the past? Because even in our time, we be saying stuff like the good old days. We don't say the good new days because the up and coming days is trials and tribulations. But the thing is this right here. We also we'll say stuff like, man, remember the 90s? I wish we can bring the 90s back or the 80s back or, you know, shit like that, right? But the thing is,
Yeah.
the brightest times on earth was when we didn't have all of the technology we got today, when we just had enough to get to accomplish the goal, which was equality for all, everyone living out. Because when you go on vacation, you literally try to get away from a lot of this technology and you just want the basics and shit. But that's what I was saying about too much of anything can kill you. And yeah, that's what happened with man becoming so technological that now he's fusing with his technology. So I believe that that was probably what the war was about. I believe that we had achieved the height on earth of what we felt was the height of technology, and that all of the wise men on the earth said there's no need for us to advance any further. And that there was some people that said, no, we want more. We want to see what else we can make. It can, you know, more. Let's go more advanced. And
Breed.
you know what I'm saying? And here we are now. So,
See, and bro, and people be like, "What is this gonna do for me? Like what's next?" But just what you explained, if people really pay attention, like you just explain how we can conduct energy with like water.
Yes.
Like all you gotta do is just do what they did, just study the ancients. You know what I mean, and like they show you how to
yeah.
do it. Man.
So this is a simple way they would do it, right? They would set up a wheel, a big ass wheel, like in this little arch right here. Now they moved all the wheels. The wheel ain't stone; it's a wooden wheel, and it's made to be replaceable too. And you can set it up right in the middle of this arch. As the water flow through this arch, it'll spin the wheel. And they will find a way to translate the motion of the wheel into an electrical current. I seen a white dude do it on a YouTube video where he made like a wooden wheel, and you can look this up. It's primitive shit. So, well, I don't like to use the word primitive either, but
Ancient.
I'll pull up because that they made a mockery of that. But yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, could primitive come off like that mean they dumb or something? Like they don't know what's going on?
It's a hydropower. So here's the basic concept. People doing it in our time too. We think we doing something new, but if you off the grid, you know they make this wheel right here. Once it go to spinning, I saw a man hook his light up and stuff. You know they. Now I ain't gonna act like I'm a electrician or I'm gonna go back like the ancients would. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, these guys apparently doing it. Like we can do it if we look up this up and we can make one. We can do it's something that can be done. It's something we probably should learn too. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's
Because
also thought. It's also the will and thought. Man.
yeah,
They're using kinetic energy. Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
but
Yeah, for sure.
hydropower, yeah.
Yeah,
See,
with the flow of the water, the currents. Yeah, yeah.
and this how the
I
ancients
feel
did
like
it. Now, listen, one thing, right? They said that ancient people invented the wheel, singular. They didn't say that the ancient people invented the four tires. Now the ancient people invented the wheel, but they ain't telling you it wasn't to get around, it was for energy.
Mm.
That's why they said they invented the wheel, singular, just one wheel. And you will see the caveman with one wheel because they making fun of something that we should be teaching, that they had electricity. But you see how they desecrating the ancestors and all that.
Right.
And then, bro, maybe this is a reach, right? But do you think that they got that idea when they first started like that well? They got it from the zodiac well.
That's literally how this is what the
Mm.
universe doing. Look, the ether is like a water and medium, like an ocean, and inside in the middle of this ocean is a whale. Or like even if you look at the symbol of Polaris, it's basically this wheel right here with the spokes and all that is like a star with the rays coming out. But that's spinning. But what's spinning it is the turning of the ether, which is the waters above, the waters we in. That's turning the sky wheel. So this same concept of the hydropower water wheel is literally the basic concept of how the universe is powering itself with the sky wheel and the primordial waters.
Mm.
That's facts, bro.
That's the secret. Yeah.
Man, it's the ball. Man, the ball.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. Hey, Cedro, you know
Yeah.
what's crazy is that this kind of energy is free because as long as the water is in motion, the wheel is in motion, and if the wheel is in motion, we got energy. So if somebody asks the question, how is the earth continuing to power itself and never run out of energy? There you go, because the water will never stop being in motion. That water gonna stay in motion because it's recycling itself in and around a torus field forever.
And plus, bro, like to add on to the synchronicity, as long as we got will, we got motion, right? And both, as long as as long as we got the will, we got motion. Like, and as long as we got will as like a person, like we got motion. We gonna do what we gotta do.
Yep, that's crazy. Willpower, that's facts, bro. This here cooking.
What a place it?
I ain't want you to-
What a place it?
That's crazy, bro. Hey,
Let
this
him cook,
nigga
man.
Cedro cooking, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Damn.
Let him cook, bro.
That nigga just gave me a moment there when that sunk in.
Say grace.
Yeah.
Say grace. Say grace.
If a nigga got willpower, he can get emotion. His world is in motion. He's empowering himself, man. If he's got will, yeah, that's dope right there, man.
Yeah,
Like
bro.
that's
Bro,
crazy.
you should be flattered too, bro. Because remember, 10 years, bro. So that just shows you like I'm on my own, like I'm doing my own synchronicities too through you, like. So you should be flattered, like.
Man, I'm hella flattered because people pick like what it is it's a way of thinking and looking at the world to connect all the dots. And if people hang around us enough, they'll pick up on the paradigm. You know what I'm saying? And this contagious in this community, man. Like all learned behavior ain't bad. Some of it good because you know what I'm saying? When y'all come back with shit like that, it pushes my third eye to see even more stuff and be like, well, damn, I ain't even take it that deep to that point because what happened is I was set the bar to a level to where it's like, damn, what else can you figure out? And you'll be surprised, man. There's so much shit out here yet to be. It's cultures out here we yet to read they stories and see how they tie into a lot of shit we've been talking about. You see what I'm saying? Like it'll never stop because it's so many lies that was told. Every aha moment is us dismantling one of them, getting a gift, like we unwrapping a gift, like, oh, shit, this what that meant, you know? And I can't unwrap all this shit by myself. It's like Christmas. Y'all got some gifts on here to open up too. Y'all got some shit to reveal too to the world. You know?
That's why I said, bro, I was waiting all these years, bro, over 10 years, like even before this channel, another channel you had. That's how long. So I didn't want to, that's why I don't get up here a lot, but I watch every show. But I was like, yo, I'm going to wait until I'm just really go up there and speak. I'm going to make sure I can come up there and add something. I'm not just going to come up there and just like be on some other shit. So I'm not going to come and water down what you saying, coming after you. You got to come not even something that's going crazier or even building what you're saying. So I was like, I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready to go up there and really just speak what I know.
You know when I'm really having fun on my show, because that's when we had them 6 hour, 7 hour joints. So salutes to it. Certain combination show up with certain topics and it just be that perfect, you know what I'm saying, joint. Appreciate
Synchronicities, man.
yeah.
Because I was
Hey,
feeling the same way Said was feeling about the conscious community. You know, I had found Bro Sanchez on a humbug one day. YouTube just popped him up in my algorithm. It was like last week. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, the flat Earth stuff was coming to me. This year I started seeing it, and I was like, okay, what is this about? But I always been like aware of certain things, but just not flat Earth. But when I seen flat Earth, the first people that was introducing it to me, like you said, it was like that Joffrey do that thing. That damn who that dude was, Bro Sanchez. You said flip the script on y'all after the black dude. You had a video on it.
Jaron,
Yeah, I don't want to misplace the name him,
yeah,
but I
him.
seen him and I just didn't catch the vibe. I didn't like how he was explaining it because it didn't really teach it to me. But when I caught you and you immediately broke it down like, nah, flat earthers is saying that the ancestors said this and that these new people are saying something that don't make sense. That's when I started looking into it. And I was like, oh God, I want to be able to speak about what I know about and what just seeing what you was giving me, the downloads you gave me. I wanted to be able to hop on the panel. And when I seen you how you interacted with your panel, even if they do be irate or they come to troll, you still have grace with them. You still give them a chance to try to be knowledgeable and add something, even if it is a opposing point. You know what I'm saying? So when I seen that, I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to hop in. And like said, I just had that pool where I was like, damn, bro Sanchez live right now. Let me see how to get on this panel. Cause the first time I seen your show, I was like, how do I even get on the
Oh
panel? Then you
shit.
dropped a little link, and I was like, oh, let me get in. And I was just saying that to go along with said when it comes to synchronicities. Like I feel like we all were feeling like that.
Hey, my listen, I wanna say one thing. And salutes to you, my brother. I'm hearing everything you saying. My damn I just looked at my phone and realized I forgot to shout my cash out people out. Salutes to y'all, man. Yo, and shout out to y'all, Mark Ferrero. Oh, Mark Farrow, appreciate you, bro. And to Bucky Wingo said, unblock me. I didn't know you was okay, man. Let me check and see what's good. I got you. But appreciate the love. I'm gonna look for you and unblock you. Amanda Lynn said, keep the knowledge coming. And shout out to Von Hall for the super chat. Appreciate y'all. Hold on a second. Shout out to you, Vaughn, and shout out to the Cash App people, man. Shout out to Free Change Adams, to Brooklyn, to Gerald Broden, and to Leonardo Flat Power OG. And yeah, appreciate y'all for the Cash Apps, man. And you know, I'm gonna pass the mic back to the panel and let the brother continue his build with salutes. Yeah, appreciate that.
hey, do y'all think they got the wind turbines from the like the water wheel though?
I mean, if you really think about it, the water wheel and the wind turbine is the same. One turning with air power, one just turning with water power. So that's big facts.
No doubt.
That's
Yeah,
big
but it
facts.
all mostly started from like Illuminati stuff. Like it started from the Illuminati stuff, and that's what opened my mind. Like when I started exposing that, and then I heard about the flat Earth through. At first, I thought it was like ridiculous. At first, I was like, yeah, that's ridiculous, flat Earth. Ah. And then I saw Martin Kenny, and then he opened me up to. I was like, okay, that model that he got, that shit makes sense. Hold on, he not crazy. And then because I was already rocking with bro when he used to talk about like the Illuminati shit, exposing that. And then he started getting to the flat earth. It's like we came into it like the same time. So then I mean that's how it went.
I mean, I be feeling like the whole community be like that for the real conscious people. I feel like we all started, you know, back in the days where we would look at the hip hop community and our entertainers and we'd be like, hold up, something off with y'all. And then we started coming up on the Illuminati thing and it just slowly unraveled to where we at today where we like, yo, this is, if I went and told my 12-year-old self this stuff, yeah,
Yeah. I
this is
believe
amazing.
flat earth would have been more acceptable to a child than to an adult. It would have made perfect sense probably to a child.
Right.
To a child's mind. And let me give a shout out to Quentin Borkin. Thank you as well for the Cash App. Appreciate y'all on the Cash App game.
But bro, like I feel like yo, you can't believe in evolution and believe I mean that and believe like the Bible. So you can't believe both. Because if you believe in a creation story, it's a total different from evolution. So you can't be like, yeah, I believe in evolution, I believe in science and the globe Earth, and believe in the Bible. Because your Bible was telling me, yo, this is how I made y'all. Like I made it this way. He didn't say nothing that y'all saying. So
Right.
which is it? Like that's detrimental. Like they gotta explain that.
Yeah. See what you doing now finna get a lot of people beat up because I tell Christians all the time, if y'all gonna accept the Bible, you can't accept everything that the world going along with because people like, we gonna point this out, for example, right? Now, you got Christians who are Pan-Africans, for example. Let's go back to this Pan-African topic, right? And show you what I'm saying. So a Christian who is a Pan-African would tell you all life started in Africa when they Bible told them all life started in Eden. But they'll ignore their Bible now and try to act. And then guess what the Christian will say? Well, Africa is Eden. Now they got to do what their Bible told them not to do, which is add and take away. You telling me that two Europeans named Adam and Eve started off in Africa? See, so it started becoming a headache, like so just the concept of a Pan-African Christian, but that's literally what Americans are. You're a Christian in a Christian country, but your science told you all life started in Africa, but your Bible told you it started in Eden. And so now our scientists are trying to say, well, Africa may be Eden. See how the liar got to see these motherfuckers. But I'm telling you,
Yeah, they
it's
got caught up
crazy.
in they lie with eugenics because that's what the theory of evolution come from Charles Darwin. He was trying to make white people look good over here because they wasn't talking about that basically. So that's where that came from. So people be believing in evolution. That's just some white supremacy thing, and I don't even know why they even believe in that. There's no proof of it. Why we ain't evolved since we've been here?
And yo, I started my awakening, right? I was following the Susquehanna River, right? And I was like, yo, why am I following this river on Google Earth? Why am I following it? The sentence said, yo, bro, just follow it, bro. You going the right way. So I ended up in Eden, New York. And I was like, nah, it can't be Eden, New York. And that's when I started going crazy. After I landed in Eden, New York, whatever, that's when I started following like the scripture, reading like the notes of the Bible and like connecting shit. You feel me? So maybe, I mean, like a lot of people don't know there's an Eden in New York, upstate.
Yeah, because it's Dame be pointing out that the Nile River might be the Mississippi River, and that they telling us the story like in reverse, so we won't actually know what continent we supposed to be focusing on. Basically, when it comes to all that ancient stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Now guess what they said? They said, now you may say, well, the Nile River is the Mississippi River. And I get what you saying. I'm saying like, yeah, that's true. It's like the Mississippi River was the first Nile River to where they try to say, well, you had all of these river valley civilizations like the Indus Valley. That was based on the Indus River. And then Nile River civilization. You had way more, because you got to ask yourself, if there was a time where these civilizations they started popping up right by rivers, right? And it gotta be more than just the Nile River civilization in Indus Valley. So I do think that the Mississippi River was part of that big awakening on Earth of river valley civilizations, but they was written out of it, the Olmecs and all them. But here's another thing I wanted to put on the table. Why was just a few thousand years ago we're talking these river valley civilizations started becoming prevalent on Earth. Hear me out now. These river valley civilizations ended the pre-dynastic era, and we rose into what's called the dynastic era with the popping up of river valley civilizations, not so much so with the Indus Valley. But here's my theory. It all lies into why they was building by rivers, because the river valley civilizations represent a new kind of human that's now starting to build civilizations by spinning a big wheel by a river to get electricity. So the river valley civilizations, in my opinion, was popping up on the river so they can use steam energy, spin wheels for electricity, just use the current of the river for electricity. And like what I was showing you, all them castles that's built by the water. So we was building entire civilizations by the water when we figured out this new wheel system. So, and that's why we was able to carve these big stones and shit. So I'm thinking that because they're saying like these river valley civilizations start to build colossal stone structures like pyramids, you know, like the Nile River Valley pyramids. And even when you talk about the Mississippi River, you can find huge stone structures. And like I'm saying, if you want to have a theory that the Mississippi River was part of these, I agree with that. But yeah, I believe it's based on the energy from the river that we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
use.
and that's the end of like just like I said earlier, the confluence point is where the most energy is made. So usually there's where they have like the windmills or any type of ancient like structures and stuff like that to conduct the energy. But I was gonna say, bro, all right, since we was on the topic of the America might be in Egypt, right? I was watching, right? I was going down a rabbit hole, right? And what you said popped into my head. You remember when you said that we might be asleep in Egypt?
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, like where does that tie in to you? Because I mean, like that's going viral now. Basically, like America is possibly Egypt and it's Israel and all like the basically the ancient civilizations is really in America. Like we created everything. But when you and then in the back of the dollar it got the pyramid and then Egypt used all the American animals and stuff like that as the symbols. How does that tie into maybe us being asleep in Egypt? Us literally being asleep, like you said, like we might be literally asleep like in a matrix type thing, and like these cocoons or whatever, or maybe it may be some like symbolic that we're like asleep in Egypt, like we don't know that this is Egypt.
Mm-hmm. So when the Bible said come up out of Egypt, I do think that our earth is a big pyramid and that the true Egypt is outside of this earth. And that when they said that the pyramid is the burial place for the pharaoh, that meant that when our soul entered the matrix, this earth realm, this terrarium from the base reality, which is, in my opinion, we're calling it ancient Egypt. We should just say the ancient world, meaning that I think if we die and saw the other side, it'll be this same earth, but in an advanced ancient setting that we forgot about, but we'll remember that we was these ancient gods that created these different computers to go in and live out these simulated alternate realities for whatever purposes we wanted to learn this or that. Because when I leave out of this world, I'm gonna learn a lot of stuff that I didn't come here with. I'm gonna take that with me. So this is an ancient classroom system, which is based upon life and death, and you'll understand it all when it's over, in my opinion. But I do think once we get up out of here, we're gonna pop out on the other side and see this endless field of just pyramid. Imagine, y'all. Let me show you something. I think I shared this concept before. Let me just be redundant. Let me see. So here's what I think when we die. When we die, we're gonna pop out of our earth, our Earth is like this pyramid, right? Our Earth is like one of these termite mounds, right? Now listen, I think when we leave our Earth, we're gonna see the multiverse. We're gonna get out of our world and see, oh shit, yeah, there's many whales waiting to eat Jonah up. So you're in one of these little mounds, you're a genie in one of these little, this can be seen as the whale that ate Jonah up, one of these little things sticking up out the ocean, up out the ground. Now you're in one of these, right? When you see the Olmec man head popping up out that mountain and Jack popping out the box, this would be you like coming up out of one of these mounds. So I'm just, because I don't have a picture to show exactly what I'm thinking. So I'm trying to just give you this to show, make my point. And what I'm saying is basically that we started to build pyramids all over the place. And those pyramids were simulations that we can go into and live alternate realities. And when you go into one of these pyramids, you're in an Earth like this that only got a few pyramids with 7 of them, and it exists in a post. Imagine this, right? In our real world, there is the whole Earth got pyramids everywhere, just like the Bible said. The Bible said we was building these towers all over the earth, just like you see here. But see, you think that all of these towers got knocked down, but they only got knocked down once you enter one of these fake simulations. In the real world, nothing got destroyed. Everything is there. But when you enter this fake world, what happened was you're in a simulation where they fast forwarding time and running out the worst case scenarios. You're like an ancient space traveler that agreed to go inside of one of these simulations to see what would a Earth become if we had a system of money or a system. It's a different simulation running out in each one of these little towers. And every one of them is running out the worst case to best case scenarios so that we can maintain heaven on the other side. So what I'm telling you is this. In the base reality, we can't make a wrong decision because we got so smart that we built these big supercomputer simulations for the souls, and we became time travelers, and we said, look, we're going to run out of simulation for every century. We want to know what would a Earth be like if we build energy systems with oil? What would a Earth be like if we make sugar currency? What would a world be like if gold was? We running all these. There's a world out there where roses are currency, and we seeing what will happen in that world, right? But the only thing we finding out that see the thing is this: we can't go wrong in the base reality because any possible decision we think we want to make, we build a simulation and run it out. Now, if a person in the base reality say, well, I think we should do this or do that, we don't think in the base reality. We build a simulation and we run it out and see what that would do to our world. And if we don't get the right result, we don't do it. So you can have a conversation in the base reality for 1 minute, and you can run a simulation that's damn near 500,000 years in 1 minute. And you can say, well, how would that affect us 10 million years from now? I don't know. Run it out in a simulation. Boom. And they get the results. But that world literally experienced that. We literally experiencing this shit from the inside out in each one. I believe what we're experiencing is part of a whole network of a galactic federation that's very advanced. We know what we signed up for, like the Space Force. And when we get up out of here, they're going to be like, so give me the intelligence, like a debriefing. Like when you send in a spy to a foreign land to get information that you wouldn't have had. And that spy got to blend in. You can't go, think about it. We're time travelers. But what happened was, when we started to travel to these simulated universes, we couldn't be time travelers when we get there because it'll compromise the simulation. If we go inside of these simulations as gods, knowing everything, then we won't let the simulation run itself. Think about this. These gods only know everything because they running the simulations, and in the simulation, they making the mistakes. So this world seems like it just can't get everything together, but that ain't the purpose of this world, because this world is a simulation. The purpose of a simulation is to make a mistake. For example, if I want to run a simulation to see if my airbag's gonna save your life, I need a crash dummy. Now the crash dummy may say, how come I'm having bad luck? How come I keep running into the wall? Because your whole life is you being in a simulation. You'll never stop wrecking that car. I know you don't want to wreck. You may not want to crash, but you was built just to crash. Your body was built just to crash in a simulation for the sake of intel and data that someone is gaining on the other side, just like the Jim Carrey Truman Show. But it's for the good of the whole thing, though. It's for the good of the whole thing. It's the most advanced computing process known, and it's a spiritual one. But this is my theory on what the other side look like. It is a bunch of simulations, just like we're gonna get outside of this thing, and we're gonna realize the earth ain't even that big. You've shrunk and small. And see, the thing is this right here. If you look at the emerald tablet, let me show you something. The emerald tablet is the earth. Look at here. The emerald tablet is a volcano. And it's like a termite mound. This is the earth terrarium right here. This is what the earth is. And I'll show you another version of this that I've been showing you the whole night, now that I got this one up, so you can see that I know what I'm talking about. Cymatics, look, just like the castle, that's the emerald tablet. This is what the firmament dome is, with the North Pole in the middle, like a tent with a pole in the middle. Let me show you another way so you can see I'm not reaching. Here is the Yoruban version. You see how they got this step pyramid with the pole in the middle, the Polynesian cosmos here. Now look, if you look at this right here, and then you look at the emerald tablet, you can see what the emerald tablets is the earth terrarium, but instead of stacking different universes on top of each other, they stack sentences, because each universe is basically, in the beginning was the word. Each one of these different universes that stacked on each other is a different story, but the same character, you in it, main character, and the story get better at the top than at the bottom. It's a horror story, but at the top it start turning to a beautiful ending and a conquering where you won like Jesus. At the top of Mount Calvary was Jesus' victory. So when you rise to the top of this stairway to heaven, look at this is the victorious point. But see, look, ain't no cap on this pyramid. So look, you got a step pyramid, but it's missing a cap. You know why? A volcano is a pyramid that ain't got a cap on it. You know why? Because some gotta leave out of that. You don't want to cap it off because souls got to leave out. So, me personally, I believe that the Emerald Tablet is yet just another way of expressing this ancient cosmological concept, and because each one of these sentence, it just like a prison sentence. If a person say I had to serve my sentence in jail, every lifetime is a sentence. And so you're going up this stairway to heaven, which is the Emerald Tablet. At the top, you're going to pop out once you fulfill the scripture, like Christ, in which is to live every sentence that was written. And in the beginning, it was written, the word. Ain't no free will. Every decision you supposed to make is already written because you in a simulation. And you came in here to fulfill the script so that we can get the data. We told all the see, here's the thing, right? If I send you on a mission, but the nature of the mission is a covert one where everybody involved not knowing about the mission will help the mission, even you, even though you the main player in the mission. It'll be like me being a police squad. We sending one of our men to infiltrate the mob, so he gotta act like a mafia person, become one of them. What if we can hypnotize him to forget who he is, forget his name, forget his whole family, forget where he was born, his whole life, and hypnotize him and make him think that he's always been a mob dude, born in a mob. And then when he through with his police mission, we wake him up and say, hey, that ain't who you are, man. You've been hypnotized on a mission. Them ain't your family neither. You got the data. You remember you was a police. You're one of us, right? That you completed the mission. Tell us everything you know. Tell us your false life that you've been living these past 15 years. So what I'm saying is the ultimate agent that will go in on that mission will be one we can actually literally hypnotize to even forget who he is as a cop and just to really and debrief him after we wake him up from his MK Ultra on some advanced military. I believe that's literally what our body is to an ancient order on the other side of this earth. You're gonna wake up out this and you're gonna remember what you signed up for. Like, oh, I went on a blind mission. I knew when they put me in, my memory was gonna be wiped, but it had to be so that I don't compromise the mission. It's one of those missions where we sending you inside of this simulation to see what it's like if we were dumbasses. So in order to do this mission right, you can't go in as a god with all this knowledge. We trying to run an experiment to see what kind of world would we make if everyone was just dumbasses. So let's go in, give me your knowledge, give me all your wisdom. Now go in a dummy and let's see how many of y'all can find this knowledge that you lost. This a game. If all you know is this knowledge that's on the other side, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to run these simulations, which is what this would have been if we didn't know this, if we didn't, because what exists in heaven is the all-knowing. These gods in heaven know everything. The only time they don't know something is when they go in a simulation. And again, every simulation is to run out a bad scenario that you don't want to run out in a good so if I already got a good situation going that I don't want to mess up, but if I think I can make it better, I can run a simulation. And if it fucked up, that was in a computer program and I still got my good one. So this is like why heaven is staying perfect. And if any changes do make happen in heaven, they only for the better, not the worst. Because the worst situations are playing out in these many simulations that exist in heaven. This is how. Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
All right, so let me tell you how I'm figuring out it's coming 360 about what you're saying. I'm just now realizing what you're saying, right? So you basically saying that, all right, in New York style, basically you got to get through the cap in order to get up out of there, right? You got to get through the cap. And just like you said, that's when you graduate college. Like when you graduate college or high school, when you throw up like the cap, like that means you got through the cap. But just like you said about like the egg, like when you break out the egg, like the head out of like the Omega heads is breaking out the egg. But at the same time, the world is a pyramid. So when you break out the top of the pyramid, you're the all-seeing eye. You see stuff for what it is. but like basically you like dissecting it to the point where you giving us every nook and cranny of it.
Yeah, and you know the whole thing about this stuff here. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was always scared to die. This knowledge right here make me really. It taps me into because a lot of folks can say, "How can you prove that?" It ain't nothing to prove. These are the teachings of ancient cosmology, and unless I can go see the Earth in macro, I can't prove none of this. But what I can't disprove is the fact that there's a life after death if there's a life before death. And the whole concept of life after death makes you question what is the process of my consciousness leaving this realm. And then when you go into that, this the only thing makes sense, that if there's a other side, the beings on that other side are already privy to what everything we going, even like this, right? If one of us, unfortunately, if something happened to us right now and you die, the mysteries of life and death and what's on the other side is going to instantly be revealed to you, which is why I'm telling y'all the dead are way more smarter than the living, and the people on the earth that was peeking on the other side and cheating death going out their body to see the other side, they had already got acquainted to the death, which means before their mortal life ended, they was already exposed to the secrets of the hereafter and other side, which is why they didn't cry at funerals. They didn't have a concept of death because they had a concept, oh, we going to the other side. Like how I say I'm about to go to the store. Oh, we just going to grandma's house. We about to walk around the corner. That one death to them, that was, oh, we just about to go back to the other side again. Like going to the other side of the neighborhood or something is how they was traveling back and forth. Today, because we don't travel back and forth regularly, we only gonna guess what happens after we die. It's a big surprise, and that's what makes it scary and such of a fucked up experience, to where people want to make technology to cheat death and, you know, all that stuff. People fear what they don't understand. That's the theory of man. The said that. Come on now.
That's why the knowledge is like it's a part of like your mental health. Like it's a big part of your mental health knowledge.
Yeah, because most of the world is insane because they fearing what they don't understand, and the more they don't understand it, the more they validate it, like this mysterious God. So it's a fucked up psychosis they got everybody under. But I hope this termite mound picture activates something in y'all, because I believe we just in one of these. And once the soul pop out, like, let me show y'all why I say that. I'm gonna show you another viewpoint of this. Remember when I showed y'all this, right? You see this dude popping out this thing? I'm saying that on the other side where you got these gods at, that's really our base reality. And we're in one of these little pods like what this little dude was in here. But the way I look at it like this, right? You know how termites are like these little larvae? Look, little white, little ant looking. My thing is, what if just like some sort of term, I hate to use the termite for an example because I ain't talking about termites, I'm talking about us. But what I'm saying is, you know, termites are white. They white, they the color of sperm. And they coming up out this mound. Now, what if this thing is transforming, like how we see this dude here, right? So what I'm saying is, like, that's a good one. Think of a caterpillar in a cocoon. I use that one a lot. So this dude entered this little incubator as a caterpillar. That's a sperm cell. That's when you entered the egg. And when you entered that egg, you've been transforming ever since. That sperm started to transform to a human the moment it entered the egg. And the sperm entering the egg is the soul entering the earth. The earth is going to transform you from a sperm to a human to a spirit with wings, like you see this dude. So this entire earth is to you what the cocoon is to the caterpillar. You ain't gonna leave out of here until you get wings, because the only thing that can break the cocoon casing is when a butterfly spread its wings. See, when the caterpillar spin a cocoon, it's trapped inside of that cocoon if it don't transform. The way that it spin the cocoon, it can't break out as a caterpillar. In other words, it's one way in and one way out, and you can't leave out the way you came in. The only way the caterpillar can leave the cocoon is to grow wings. And when he grow wings, when he acknowledge, oh, I feel something. When the caterpillar wake up, it's gonna say, damn, I feel different. I got wings, I can feel them, but some holding them. And when the caterpillar gonna stretch its wings out, cause it feel them, but they compressed. And soon as that caterpillar stretches wings out, it's gonna say, damn, I'm a butterfly, and it's gonna break through the casing. Now look, if it ain't got no wings to stretch out, it can't even break the casing. Getting the wings is synonymous with breaking the casing, which is why you can't see this guy here. He can't make it out the earth realm without wings. And if you look at the other gods out there, they got their wings on too. They used to not have wings. They was little. See, the reason you can't fly right now is because you're a larva. Your human form is literally like the caterpillar crawling on the ground at the bottom of the ground. But the earth is like a cocoon, and it's turning all of us into these winged creatures that they say are like these beautiful creatures. So the human form ain't even our most beautiful form. A lot of people be in the mirror and they love themselves. There's another version of you in a higher reality that make this version of you look ugly, just in case you think you cute. This is not your finest version, bitch. Okay? No, I'm just joking though. But seriously, this real talk. This is literally the ancestors said this shit get badder and badder, like a snake shedding its skin. Every time it shed a skin, it looks badder and badder. It's like it's aging in reverse. But so,
Yo, Sanchez,
mm-hmm.
you know, when you're breaking that down, I couldn't help think about the movie Total Recall. But instead he pick his mission is like we picking which Earth we want to experience, you know, and we can't leave until we finish the mission. Just like Total Recall, he had also finished the mission before the game was end, right?
I'm gonna go back and watch Total Recall, man. Break. And who was which one was that one again? Because I do remember. Yes, Schwarzenegger. I thought it was. He be in all of the good shit, man, like Terminator and shit too.
Yeah, so he went in the I think his memory was erased too, and he went into he picked where he want to go, and then he was in there for like to him it was like for a long time, but he was just on a lunch break. He went in on his lunch break, and he, you know, it's just like us. We gonna think we've been here for a long time, but it's just a few minutes.
Now guess what, y'all?
It was a simulation.
Now, I don't know how long y'all been around, but I got a pay-per-view documentary I made it a while back. It's about Vimana technology and Nikola Tesla and time travel. People, we reverse engineered the secrets to time travel in the 40s. This gonna sound crazy to y'all. I know it is, man. Time travel was never looked at as sci-fi until World War II. Listen, I've done my research. Don't y'all know before the 40s, people talked about time travel as real science and a real it wasn't a joke. People didn't look at it like time travel. Come on, that's just movies. No, time travel was legit science talk up into the 40s, into the space race, World War II, because guess what? People know bullshit. It had the secrets to time travel. When you talk about the Vimana technology he had, guess what they said? The Rukma Vimana could generate an energy field, and everybody inside the energy field. This basically what, if you get my documentary, you will see it. I got receipts from primary sources. The dude on the source literally was underground in the military base examining this technology, work with the government. You can look him up and all this stuff, but you take it with a grain of salt. But it checks out with me but check this out, right? He said that the government had technology in the 40s, and you can just listen to what I'm saying and tell me if it's a reach or what you think. But these Vimanas was able to create an energy field around them when they were stationary. And they said that people that was inside of this energy field, their watch time moves slower inside the field than outside. So they was like, if they could perfect this field and strengthen this field and start to harness it and kind of calibrate it where you can control this energy field based on what they found out, they said it's possible to slow time down. It's just inside this little bubble. And then they said the implications of that could mean that technology that it's taken us 100 years to figure out, we can go inside of this little bubble and we can spend 100 years to figure it out. But when we come out the bubble, only 1 year passed. So listen, after the 40s, after World War II, our government reverse engineered the paperclip technology, and we started getting all of this technology, and it was like a boom in technology. We was figuring out technology that didn't even exist with Hitler. We not only did we get all of his shit, there was a boom in technology and sci-fi movies and just a whole weird time in America where technology just took off. We went from rotary phones to goddamn chips in the back of your head now in like 100 years. Don't you know that's unheard of? Things
Right.
things that we said wouldn't come to like 2100 is already here, people. How did we speed the future up? I believe they used that technology. I believe they are sending scientists inside of an energy field, and them scientists can go inside of that energy field and they can spend, they can be in, if they stay in that energy field, think about it, they're turning 80. They inside of this motherfucker studying a project that would take them 50 years. And when they walk out, they ain't aged for 50 years. Now, I know this sound crazy, but the ancestors talked about a tree of life that can give you youth. It'll keep you young forever. Now, what if the ancestors figured out that they can generate a magnetic energy field and slow time down inside the field? And that means you can go in that field with your loved ones and spend 10 years and come out and it was only 1 year. In a world like that, you had so much time. It's like we can quadruple every hour. We can multiply every minute by, you put a number there, and we can literally increase our time on Earth with this technology. And it's literally tree of life technology.
Hey, yo, bro, ain't they kind of doing that now with, like, don't they got the thing where you could do your sentence within like 5 minutes?
Yeah, I know you're talking about. They said they're gonna put a chip in your head and make it. It's gonna basically do what they doing. Basically, they trying to mimic life, where they put you in a simulation in your head where you do like your 100 years or whatever, but you only been on the table for 10 minutes.
It's crazy because people always been saying that the people in power are years ahead of us. if all of us on the same time, how the hell they get ahead of time without some kind of technology like what we're explaining now?
Right.
Because if you 50 to 100 years into the future already, ain't nothing up for grabs. The world ain't unfolding randomly. Y'all are planning every single. In other words, they know what the world gonna look like right now in the year 2150. Somebody got a computer animation with the world in 2150, and you'll never know. But it ain't no guessing game. They planning this shit out thousands of years into advance, and I think it's because these people in power have cheated death. Oh, listen, most of us ain't concerned with planning beyond our own lifetime, and they try to make us feel bad for that. Like, you ain't planning for future generations. No, every generation get to plan for themselves. That's the beauty of each person having their own life. See, the thing about it is this. If I was a demigod trapped on Earth and I'm never going nowhere and I'm stuck here for thousands of years and I can't ascend, then yes, I will be planning for future generations and I'll be invested. But if you got a soul and you living your life moving to a higher reality, you ain't even invested in this earth no more. You unplugging when your game, when my player die in a video game, I'm leaving. I ain't watching they sticking around to watch you play.
I know that
I
right.
got other shit to do. I died.
I'm trying to go be in the real world.
Yeah. I'm not sticking around. That's why I said they got us thinking like them. Because how you gonna unplug from the earth fully and detach yourself if you trying to plan millions of damn years in ahead? Like, let go, my nigga. Let somebody plan for themselves. You can't. That's a control freak.
Yeah, that's an ego thing. You ain't even balanced enough to lead a firmament if you thinking like that.
Right, you too attached.
Right.
I want to plan for motherfuckers that's in the year 2500 right now. I want them to be doing my will and my plan.
And like you said, that's why we made these simulations, because people be thinking like that, and we be like, you know what? Go on another machine right there and go on see what happens.
Yeah. And that's why I said, bro, we will never be able to change this world to a better place because this is a simulation with a certain type of AI in this bitch that's designed to maintain a certain scenario just so that we can see. See, because one thing is this, we've canceled out all the bullshit in the base reality. Anytime somebody say, hey, I know a better way we can make the world, we can make it with this. We can make money the currency and we can base it on gold. One of the gods can say, hey, man, take him to universe 81-3. They already running a simulation where they built the world that was ran off gold and money, and it didn't work. This is like a big library in the ancient world to where anybody think that they can build a better world in heaven. One of the gods say, hey, plug him into world 88-4. He think we can build a world based on this. Let him see we already ran that simulation. Put him in it.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Everybody gonna know when they get to heaven, ain't nothing better than heaven. There's no way you can enhance heaven. We ran every possible scenario, good and bad, and this is good as it gets. And if you want to experiment with something better, we ain't risking what we built here. You can go and run your simulation. We'll make you one here. Make him a world. Let him go run it and see what he do, and then come out and tell us what's good luck, bro. You see what I'm saying?
Right. That
That's
makes
my
sense
theory.
though.
Yeah.
That makes sense though, because when you're dealing with kids and kids coming into teenagers, they always gonna think they got the answer. So you got to let them like go live that answer out. But how we do it in society, we actually live with the consequences. Kids be shooting each other, all kind of crazy stuff. But if you add a simulation, like if we could make people actually learn from GTA, we would do that. That's
That's what
what
I
I think.
think.
That's what I
The
see you
whole
saying they doing. They got us learning from GTA basically. Like you can't do
that's
it here,
what
but you can do it over there.
that's what I think video games was for, man. in the because people are ancient video game. Yeah, life is an ancient video game,
Right.
and it was made to master yourself, not to just play a game. But check this out, right? This multiverse shit. I'm telling you, I believe each one of these universes represent where we made a certain mistake that fucked that world up. And because we fucked up all these worlds out there, they stand as a testament of time that what not to do. So if you think about it, right, the 10 Commandments look like one of these pillars with all the little words written on them. And the 10 Commandments is telling you, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. I believe in each one of these universes, and the Hindu said is 7 of them, but I'm showing you this image. But imagine this. It's 7 of these mounds. And in each one of them, we built a world that was motivated by a different deadly sin. So in one world, it was motivated by sugar wars. Everybody wanted to eat sugar and food. In one world, it was greed, money, wealth. In one world, it was sex. Everybody, that was the currency. People just wanted to get their rocks off. Every world is one of the deadly sins. And we built the world with that deadly sin as the foundation. So my whole thing is, yeah, like
Mm.
you feel me?
The
So
Bible do tell you they do that because it be like the 7 goddamn gates of hell and shit.
so my whole thing is, this is your 10 commandments, because each one of these worlds got, like, for example, the world that we built with pride, that world got pride written on it. Like, it's got a whole, because think about this. These are simulations. The gods are saying, let's build these underworlds so that souls can realize what kind of world we would build if we let these particular traits govern us. This is a lesson why you got to rise above the 7 deadly sins. But see, what did they say? If you follow the commandments, you can go to heaven. Literally, the commandments that we got to rise above are written in the earth terrarium in our hearts. They're written in this simulation in your avatar. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're inside of the 10 commandment tablets, which is these emerald tablets or whatever. What I'm saying is this. There is each tablet is a universe, and each universe is being ruled by a different sin. And every sin represent like a different Greek god. It's 7 Greek gods: Venus, Mercury, all of them. Each one of them represent an instinctive trait or underworld trait: lust, envy. What's the 7? You know them. So each of these commandments, or thou shalt not, right? You're actually doing it in these worlds. This world said, what's happening is this. These worlds are like computers. And because people in heaven don't kill, people in heaven don't steal, the only way they can experience these bad traits is in a computer. And they become a fallen angel. They plug themselves in the simulation like Neo. And in those worlds, you can experience, like, if I tell y'all right now to go out there and get in a car and run 10 motherfuckers over there and shoot it out with the police, you'll laugh at me. But if I say, let's do that in Grand Theft Auto, you will do it anyway. It's a game. So you will do that kind of shit. What I'm telling you, when we started making lifelike simulations and going in them, we was acting out worst case scenarios because all we know in heaven is good. In other words, evil is something we're experimenting with as good gods. We found out this new stuff called evil, this new behavior, and this behavior, it don't even exist in our real reality. It's some new shit that we hypothetically discovered in a simulation. It's based upon, hey, we asked the question, What if it's like if you built a computer that can simulate advanced problems, and you ask it a question like, all right, remember you in heaven now. Only thing you know is good. You never heard of bad before. That don't even exist in heaven. But you create this computer, and you ask the computer, hey, computer, what if there was a world that existed based upon a different set of rules than heaven? What if there was something that could be a opposite, or what would heaven be like if it wasn't heaven? We started to ask this thing that, and the simulation that it ran was hell. And that's why hell is a computer program. Hell don't exist in reality. It can only exist as a hypothetical simulation that the gods in heaven, we wanted to know, what could there be something that can exist different than heaven? And that's to simulate this advanced computing technology that we were able to upload in via mind uploading. Because we was running all of these simulations of heaven. Good, 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 good. But the $1 million question was, can this be variated? And Siri said yes. ChatGPT said, theoretically, I can create a world for you where the rules are different and the concept you have of good is actually coexisting with an opposing concept called bad. And the God, bad? What is bad? What is that? We don't know yet. It's the opposite of heaven. But if you want to experience it, you can step in this simulation and you can see what this bad would be like. You got to think now. You don't know what bad is. What's the opposite of loving? Because in heaven, all they doing is loving everybody, just lovey-dovey. They don't know nothing else. And if one of these beings in heaven want to learn evil, they got to go to the tree of life like Adam and Eve did, and that is the gateway into the simulation. So each one of these simulations is running out the evil frequency, whether it's pride, gluttony. And once your soul enter one of these simulations, that version of you got to overcome that sin, which is represented, which is what's written on that particular tablet or that universe. It's 7 classrooms, and they teaching pride, envy, anger. You know, they teaching the deadly sins. And when the God go into one, that God is plagued with lust and envy. Every human got these fucked up traits. And this is a test. You didn't have them in heaven. We didn't even know this shit. But in order for you to learn anger, jealousy, lust, pride, greed, you literally got to become it. You got to build a certain body that's able to manifest these new frequencies that we don't know in heaven. Your heavenly body can't manifest these underworld frequencies, but your earthly one can. It's an avatar in the game, and the game is simply an environment we made to experience evil. Without this world, without earth, the gods in heaven wouldn't know the opposite of good. The serpent is what's teaching them that, what we call the devil, but the devil don't exist in heaven. The devil exists at the gateway in between heaven, hell, and the earth, which that's what the demiurge is, the serpent on the pole. Now, why did the devil, people think that the devil is only in hell, but the devil be in heaven all the time, conversating with God, asking him, can he fuck people up and test them like Job? See, because this concept of the devil being only in hell is some new church dumb shit, because the Christians in the Bible told you that the devil is on the earth testing man, just like he did with Christ. It say we got to wrestle with Satan in the flesh like Jesus. How you going to wrestle with the devil if he burning in hell right now? So you in hell fighting the devil, just like when Christ went down to the underworld to fight the devil. That was his earth journey. So my whole thing is this. How did Christ defeat the devil? He overcame sin. Sin is your lower self. It's as simple as, if we overcome the 7 deadly sins, we gonna make it out of here. But it ain't easy. Trust me, it ain't easy. And basically, ain't nobody saying you can't indulge. If the concept was, do unto others as you have them do unto you. So let me make an example. Let's say you got a lustful spirit. You like women. So you breaking hearts, you hurting these women left and right just to get what you want. That's what'll get you reincarnated, because of your lust. The universe ain't saying you can't lust. It's saying that none of these earthly frequencies should make you hurt others. Or, for example, look at the Garden of Eden times. We was enjoying ourselves, man. The earth was a utopia. We did all of these, what we call 7 deadly sins. But when nobody hurt nobody, it wasn't no war. It went, see, people still doing this stuff, but it's like OnlyFans, prostitution. It's all capitalistic. See, my whole thing is this. The reason the world like this is because these 7 deadly sins is doing us. We ain't doing them. It's like how some people can drink and they can control their alcohol and not become alcoholics, and some people become addicts. That's how I look at this whole thing, because the gods came into this thing like the ideal manifestation, what they call the sunnum bonum, is to come to earth and indulge and experience this utopia, for like in the golden ages. But the reason we can't really enjoy this thing as a paradise, remember, too much of anything can kill you. We lost our paradise by doing too much. When we say, man, you doing too much, we developed so much technology that technology no longer created a heaven. It became a hell, and now technology rules us. So because of that, the ancestors said, look, we only gonna overindulge in a simulated environment. But don't you know that the word heaven means balance and even? Just take the H off. Heaven is heaven, even, everything balanced, not too much of anything. It's gonna create a utopia. We never lost paradise. But the people who, in order for a soul to truly experience heaven, they gotta go through hell. Because if you never been through hell and all you know is heaven, you're gonna always think the grass is greener. So after a soul is done running around these simulations and being born again in the multiverse, it realizes ain't nothing better than heaven. But if a soul never experienced that, heaven ain't even heaven to you. I always say, man, if you born into a rich family, you ain't rich, you normal. That's all you know. But if you was born in the ghetto, in the hood first, and you got rich, you appreciate it more than just some spoiled rich brat. All he know is rich. He complaining that his parents got him a Benz because he wanted something else. He didn't want the $10,000 belt. He wanted the $20,000 belt. He's mad because he was born in riches. Now, what about the project baby? You get him a $2,000 belt and he think he done made it round his mother. See, a little is a lot to a person that ain't had nothing. And to the people in heaven, they able to experience heaven to its utmost capacity because they've only known hell. If you can't go nowhere but up this stairway to heaven, once you get to the top, you gonna appreciate your position. Heaven ain't a place for this great ungrateful motherfuckers. It ain't no soul walking around heaven saying, this ain't good enough for me. Every soul that have risen to heaven know that they in the best place you can be in the universe because they done been through all this shit. They saw the other side. They know the grass ain't greener. They'll tell you, hey, if that grass greener than heaven, it's artificial turf. So there was a god that they call Vulcan. How many of y'all remember the god Vulcan? And the Greeks want all of our people to believe that the god Vulcan come from the Greeks. But I'm going to bounce back and I'm going to go to some Olmec teachings to y'all real quick. I'm going to show you some about the god Vulcan real quick. Because everybody know Vulcan is the root word of volcano. But why, right? Why do we have a god that's linked to the volcano? All right, let me show you. Why do we have a god called Vulcan? And they telling you that this volcano god was a Greek god, but let the Aboriginal show you something. You see, look at that Olmec god at the top of that volcano. See the concept, right, of the god Vulcan, the volcano god. The reason he was a volcano god is because he popped out of a volcano. And here go Vulcan right here, the volcano god. Come Jack popping out the box, the genie coming out the lamp. See, with syncretism, everything is everything. See, just like I'm doing with Vulcan, volcano god. See a man coming out of a volcano, it's the same story because that volcano is the earth realm, just like this emerald tablet. So like Jonah coming out the well, and right here with this emerald tablet, you got the fire coming out the top. Boom. Same shit. That's the soul. But I'm just, you know what, let me go ahead and end this shit, man. We about to be at 8 hours, man. I gotta wrap this up.
We had a good one.
Yeah, I gotta come back and continue it on another one, man. Because I can do this all night. But peace and love to y'all. Let me get on up out of here, man.
Peace and love, brother.
Peace and much
Power
love.
to the pedal. Power to
See
the
y'all.
commanders.
Yeah, see y'all on the next one, man, for sure. Thank y'all once again, everybody, for the Cash Apps, the PayPals, the Patreons, channel memberships. Salutes to everybody. Y'all know who you are, who support what I do. Can't thank you enough. We out. Peace and love. Be on the lookout for new music and new edited, uploaded documentaries and all that. We getting the end of show Cash App. Shout out to Sterling Lewis. He said, thank you for your time. Thank you, Sterling, for the end of show Cash App. I'm able to read it right before we get out.